Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we're broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. Tonight we're going to have another awesome show. Welcome to the After Hours. We're getting it in here on this Saturday evening. We're going to have a great show. I'm interviewing tonight two gentlemen that I had the privilege of interviewing a few months back. I think I was filling in for Dave Scott. So it was a chance meeting with these gentlemen. We had a great time and definitely had to have them back. So they are here today. And we may be looking into some pretty interesting things. So we have Evan B. Stone, who's going to be joining us, who is a cinematographer, many years, many programs that you guys, I'm sure, have watched for sure. Yeah, definitely a great guy doing some great work along with Jack Vaisey, who's a paranormal researcher for, over 20 years. Like I said, we've talked before. They have a great show called SVC, Explorers of the Unknown, YouTube channel, doing great work over there. So we'll jump into all that tonight. And what I want to do first is welcome everybody in, right? That's what we do on Saturday. Just welcome everyone in. Thank you for coming in. And let's see who came in with the gold tonight. Race Fan is going to make sure that I have the data, and I appreciate you for that. So, according to the info I have here, gold goes to Race Fan. Silver goes to Trucker Andrew, and Brown Dwarf picks up on the bronze. So we do appreciate you all for coming in. Let me go ahead and welcome everyone else here into the chat on this fantastic Saturday evening. Let me go ahead and get back to the top of this here. Yep. Like I said, Race Fan is here. Brown Dwarf has stepped in the building. Rayfin is in here saying hello. Hello, Rayfin. Thank you for coming in. Phyllis Mouchette Perry saying hi, everyone. Hi, Phyllis. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. We have Corey saying hello, SOR. Hello, Corey. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. We appreciate you showing up. Saying you the man, Rob G. I appreciate that, Corey. I just do what I do, try to create a fun space for you guys. So I'm glad that that is working out. Thanks for coming in. Junior's Noob Corner. First time here. I don't know why this did. Oh, okay. First time here. I don't know why this showed up in my notifications, but I'm intrigued. Okay, that's what we like. I think you should have a great time. Junior's Noob Corner. Thank you for coming on in. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Roger Murray dropping knowledge on us tonight once again, saying Happy St. Patrick's Day, which would be tomorrow. 43rd anniversary Oregon UFO incident. Sergeant Rusty Yoakum record on the CB radio. UFO diesel engine sound UFO. Okay. And then Orange Orb last 4:30 in the morning. Okay. A lot of great information there that you dropped on us, Roger Murray. We do appreciate that each and every time. So thank you so much for coming on in as well. Let's see, who else do we have showing up? Showing up to hang out tonight. Who else do we have? We got Rafin. We got Abbott Hoffman. AI opinions of UFO videos. And I don't know. I mean, maybe we can do that. That's something I'd heard we had discussed previously, and maybe that's something that we'll be able to accomplish tonight. That is the hope. We do have some gems. I know at least I have some gems picked that will really be good to be looked at. Further examination. So let's see what happens. Let's see, who else do we have? Okay, we have Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Saying, good evening, Rob G and everyone. You rock. Right back to you, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Thank you so much for coming on in. Yes, JSCO77 has stepped in the building saying, hi, folks. Hoping for a good show. We appreciate you coming on in, JSCO77. We do appreciate you showing up. And Michael Dyer has stepped in saying, hey, now. Hey, Michael Dyer, thank you so much for coming in tonight. Slow Motion saying hi all. Hi, Slow Motion. Thanks for showing up tonight. We appreciate you. Let's see. Who else do we have? Did I say John Lamb? If not, hey, John Lamb. Thanks for coming in. Saying hello, SOR folks. Right back at you, John Lamb. Thank you for coming in. Karen and the Woo Train. Happy Saturday night, SOR and Mr. Rob. Appreciate you, Karen. Thank you so much for coming in. Van Gold, LVL Van Gold is officially here saying, hey, Rob G and SOR family. Hey, Van Gold, thank you so much for coming on in. We appreciate you. Aloha, Dave. Okay, now you're trying to challenge my Spanish here, man. I don't know if I got saludos a todos de Mexico. Welcome everyone from Mexico. I think that's it. Aloha, Dave. I know you'll let me know. Appreciate you coming on in tonight. Let's see. Lil Cam 51 saying that tornado outbreak was crazy. 60K plus super chatted on Ryan Hall's YouTube. Wow. Unaware. I've been under the weather, no pun intended, this entire week actually. So I have been out of the mix, almost back to 100. Still not there, but we're gonna push right through this thing because that's what we do. So thank you for coming on in, Lil Cam. Thanks for the information. Who else do we have in here tonight? We have Facebook user. Facebook user has stepped in the building. Thank you so much for showing up, Facebook user. We appreciate you. Wild Berry Candy Co. Thank you so much for coming on in, Wild Berry Candy Co. We love you and we appreciate you coming on in. Gaia Love 1. Hello, everyone. Hello, Gaia Love 1. Right back at you. Thanks for coming. Let's see. We are moving down the list here. Yeah, I'll agree. Wildberry Candy Co. said, what an amazing day. I have to agree. Here in California, where I'm at, it was a beautiful day. So if this is how we're going to get it kicked off, I can't complain at all. At all. Let me see. Paranormal Pixie Laura, thank you for coming on in, saying hi, everyone. Thank you for showing up here tonight. We have a Carl Bittner sighting. Hey there, Rob, and all you spacey after hour spaced out peeps. Appreciate you, Carl Bittner, for coming on in and joining us tonight. we should have a great time as always. You know how we do. Susan Alloway saying, "Hey Van Gold, thank you for coming on in, Susan Alloway." Jimmy Gonzalez saying, "Hello everyone." Hey Jimmy, thanks for coming in. Let's see. Okay, it was greetings to everyone from Mexico. Got it. Appreciate you, Aloha Dave. Let's see. Okay, we are almost there. Laura Lee Seaton saying SOR exclamation point. We love it. Thanks for coming on in, Laura CS. Hey CS, thanks for coming in. Saying hi everyone. Let's see, who else do we have? Almost down to the bottom of the list. Asimov 5W. Appreciate you, Asimov. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. SG Nav Spotter 310. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for joining us tonight. Should be an awesome show right here on After Hours. Let's see. Doug Shelby. The birthday guy, Doug Shelby. What up, y'all? I'm really not late. Yeah, you're not. You're right on time, right? Right on time. Fashionably late, but right on time. Appreciate you. Let's see. Who else do we have? Warden Dragon stepped in saying hi. Hey, Warden Dragon. Thank you for coming on in. All right. Laura Lee Seaton says, "Love this show. Appreciate you, Laura. We do appreciate the support and love that you give through your compliments and just showing up and hanging out with this. I mean, it's always a great time when we can get together." Aloha Dave threw in the first super chat for the night. We do appreciate Aloha Dave supporting, saying kudos to Ra for his perfect Spanish pronunciation. And look, my grandmother's Mexican, so I've Latin heritage, and I hopefully should be pronouncing some of the stuff right, or it's a disservice to yeah. I should that it's the least I could do for you, Aloha Dave. So thank you so much for coming on in. Let's see. All right. I think we are all caught up. So with that being said, yeah, we're here. It's a Saturday, and we're gonna go ahead and get After Hours kicked off like we always do. So wanted to talk about a couple things real quick. Been sick all week. You guys been showing your love, and I do appreciate it. Man, I'm telling you, when you get, I won't even name this. I think I had what you think I probably had, and knocked me out for the full week. I mean, I was in bed for days upon days. It was horrible. It was the worst. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I knew I would get better right in time to be able to come back and hang out with you guys. So as long as we can do that, yes, then we're going to go ahead and do that. JSCL has a great idea. Hit that like button, folks, if you have not already done so. And then once again, for the new people, I know there's at least one new person in here who we appreciate coming in. So I kind of want to let you know how this works here at Spaced Out Radio. We run this program 7 days a week. Right, so on Saturday and Sundays, Saturdays you'll catch me here doing the After Hours from 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Pacific, and then Sunday, same thing, but right before I come on, from 7 p.m. Pacific till 8, you get the Cryptid Huntress Jessica Jones. So you want to make sure to come in early on Sunday so you can catch her. As soon as she's done, we kick it right on over here to the After Hours for Sunday's edition. 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Pacific. And then the week starts off Monday through Friday with David Scott, the conductor of the Woo Train, running 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. So what that means is 7 days a week, we have something going on here that you might enjoy. And we would appreciate, if you haven't, to potentially hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, think about coming back. And yeah, great content all the time, I promise. All right. So with that being said, let me go ahead and check the chat one more time before we jump into our weekly review. Dino Bravo fan snuck right up in here, right? Yep, sure did. Thanks for coming in, Dino Bravo fan. Pont Zorro also stepped in. We appreciate you. Presidential Zaddy has stepped in the building, saluting everyone as he comes in with the FU Dave. And you know we love that, Presidential Zaddy. Thank you so much for coming on in and showing your support, man. You know how we get it in. So, all right, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do as we always do. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Miss Catherine. No, this is Catherine Gay. This is our other Catherine. Hi, everyone. I'm here mainly listening. It's hard to see the little pictures when you're looking through StreamYard. But we do appreciate you coming on in, Catherine. You are in the building, and so is Jessica McCreary saying, hello, everyone. We appreciate you showing up tonight. Jessica, thanks for your love. And as we get ready to go ahead and hop back in time into the Spaced Out Radio time machine to see what exactly happened this year. I mean, this week at Spaced Out Radio. I kind of was out the loop. So, like I said, once again, this is going to be good for me. Came uh, off of vacation for a week on a cruise, missed everything. Now, as soon as I get back, I'm down for a week because I'm sick for whatever reason. But we're going to get it together. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we missed this week on the Spaced Out Radio review. And here we go.
I gotta ask you, I've never dealt with a demon. Okay.
That's
Well,
not
I'm not
something
saying,
people want to deal with.
well, actually, that's not true. I had a very dark time in my life in 2007, 2008. And I always like to say to people that I stared the devil in his eyes and I told him to, go away, but in a more rude term.
I was gonna say,
And
well,
and as someone who suffers from depression and anxiety, it's very easy to get lost in those dark clouds.
mhm.
And we encourage everybody here that if you are the same way and you haven't got treatment or help, go get some treatment and help. It's so worth it. So worth it. But nonetheless, I have seen some dark things, okay, over time.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would call it demonic. So let's just start off by asking you this. What is a demon?
A demon is a being that is pure energy. It cannot take human form. It is unable to, not that it wants to. It really, really does not want to be tied to a quote unquote shell. It is just that's what started the war between heaven and hell. But it wasn't hell at that time. Hell did not, as we know it, exist. We were all beings of light, and we're made up of complex energy, and we were physical at one time, and we evolved to the point of being just complex energy with sentience. And we traveled all the galaxies. We saw everything there was to see. Our whole purpose was the pursuit of knowledge. So we traveled for billions of years, and we saw stars born, planets born, planets die, races created. And after a while, some of the people said, "Hey, we're tired of this. We've seen everything. We've done everything. We want to be physical again. We want to know physical love, to have children, that type of thing." And the followers of Lucifer said, "No way, man. This is not what we want. No, we don't want to be subject to pain, growing old, disease, dying. We don't want to be trapped into a shell." And that's what started the war. And Michael disarmed Lucifer, and Ariel disarmed his son.
Tickled in the chat room says, when I was running a bar, we had a ghost that would make his presence. It was pretty cool, but also made a few employees quit. I mean, that's a chance you take. I mean, can you imagine going through a job interview at a bar? So what do you believe about the paranormal? I mean, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't believe in ghosts. Okay, well, that's
when I know we're going to talk about Maryland stuff later, but when I I worked at the National Museum of Civil War Medicine in Frederick, Maryland, which awesome place to visit, and also awesome haunted location. But that was a place where ghost stories were a part of daily work life, and you kind of needed to be aware of it and on board with it in order to function there at all. It was very much like, do you believe in ghosts? Because we're going to talk about ghosts a lot, and chances are you're going to encounter one. So you can think it's BS if you want to, but give it a few weeks and you're going to meet the ghosts here. So, and I worked there in college. So that was the first place I really saw where people were just like, oh yeah, by the way, it's haunted. But that was very much the attitude.
Yeah, it's amazing how that kind of plays out. I mean, having to warn people. It's like the local museum where I do our ghost tour. They have a bunch of volunteers who come in there, especially students needing volunteer hours for graduation. And they'll talk about, well, what do you know about the paranormal? And they all act like, oh, no, that stuff doesn't bother me, or that stuff doesn't exist. And then they have the experience.
Right. Or they're told not to say that stuff to the public when you know that things got to be bussing after dark, right? Like they're seeing all kinds of wacky stuff, but they've got to like keep their lips pursed. But I do, I love a good story, referring back to what you were talking about earlier with like what makes a good story. I do love a good story where somebody who was either previously like a non-believer or just never really gave it any thought at all has that experience, and then they're like a changed man or a changed woman.
All right, Science Bob, here we go. We're going to get into what you feel is an absolute travesty of mismanagement about UFOs. It comes from Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick in his final report as head of the Aero program, even though Kirkpatrick stepped down in December, as his final days was right in the end of the last year. Your thoughts on what's going on here, Bob?
I'm amazed. So he's still advising Aero. They're trying to keep him in there to keep all of them tame, because I'm sure that about half the staff in Aero is in rebellion. But Kirkpatrick has quit. He's going to work for Battelle and Oak Ridge National Laboratories. That means he's not a government employee. His doing this unpaid advisory thing for the United States government, Department of Defense, Aero Department, is illegal under federal law. That's not allowed. Furthermore, since he's no longer working in that office, he has no need to know what is in that office. That's a violation of federal law. The law that the Congress passed said that they were to produce a history. What was that? They were to produce you got some visitors. So they produced a history. They produced no history. They produced a stream of crap, and lots of it was not historic. They didn't even get Harry Reid's state right in the document. They said he was from New Mexico and not Nevada. One of the references, number 3, is from the Fandom Wiki site. That's a reference in a technical report to Congress? Give me a break. And then the claims are no one has come in and told them anything about non-human intelligence extraterrestrials. They keep saying no evidence of extraterrestrial this and that, and no one's claiming extraterrestrial anything. They're claiming something real is here and we don't know what it is, and we, humanity, didn't invent it.
I can understand where you're going with that. And, I think when you can't replicate the experiments, because you ask a ghost to come out on command, because if it's a person and you ask demandingly, if somebody were to ask me, I'd be like, screw you. I got things to do. I got to do my hair. I got to go shopping. I got to brush my teeth. I got a date tonight. I'm going to watch the hockey game. But the spirits are still, if we could believe that they are still living their lives, we don't know what they're doing on the other side. And we can't replicate the experiment. We're lucky if we can replicate the experiment once, maybe twice over time, not days, not weeks, not on command, over time.
Yep. Because you bring up a strong point. So I'm just going to use the term veil and other side very loosely. Whatever your interpretation is, that's up to you, the listener. But okay, so everything that we have, you just brought that up, time. Everything that we do time wise is based on a formula in this physical world. We don't know what the formula is on the other side and across the veil. That formula could be distorted because it's based on velocity, distance. It's just look it up. Anyway, the concept of time and even with what we see can be distorted. Not to pick on a certain show with the 8-foot tall demon in the doorway, which is only 6 feet tall. We won't say the show's name. But this becomes a distortion of time. And so, like you said, to replicate and to do this on demand, it's very difficult to do because you don't know what that formula is across the veil or on the other side, whatever your definition is. I like to use the unknown. But so if you're looking at the physics of it, yeah, that's 100% accurate. You cannot replicate it. You can replicate it, but it takes quite a bit of time from our physical world because we don't know when that conjunction could happen across the other side.
I love the title of your book, In Wisdom from the Spirit World, Teachings on Love, Forgiveness, Purpose, and Finding Peace. It's a pretty heavy book to write for so many different topics.
Well, that's really what the work is about. I mean, the subtitle. In fact, one of the lessons that everything I write about is direct experience that I've had. And one of the lessons, one of the themes that over and over and over again kept coming through was releasing the past frees us. So in a way, we could say that that's forgiveness, because in a spiritual sense, forgiveness is about making a conscious decision to not carry the past. And I think sometimes people can get misconstrued in that they think that it means that they're, putting a stamp of approval on how someone hurt them or traumatized them or abused them, and it's not that. It means my past does not limit or define me. It's an experience that I had. Just as we were talking in the first part about my past and, falling into alcohol and drugs and getting into a lot of trouble that way. It's really put me in a position, for example, that I can now use it to help other people, because I've done many, many readings for people who have alcoholism in the family. It's a family pattern. It's come down the generations. People who have lost children to opioid overdoses. I've done many of those readings. And I never used opioids, in my own life. But I understand addiction because I walked down that pathway. So we can use something that most people would think would be traumatic or terrible. Once we recover from it, we can use it to help others.
How do we know that this is real? How do we know that they're not just throwing another story out there to see if the public reacts to it?
Well, when I met with the whistleblower on the East Coast, I actually sat down with him and met him, and he showed me all of his IDs and identification, and all real. And, you know, he didn't necessarily go into details around the story. He did validate the story, but he went into much more detail about the programs that are in existence. And so these are stories that he's telling me. So I have every reason to believe him. You know, he has worked for our government. He has testified. I have checked with other people and vetted him and his background, and they have all said, yes, he's testified. And so he's been asked potentially to come out and testify in another hearing. And that has also been fact checked. And so it's just a story at this point, right? It's somebody's story. And so when people have heard the story, like today, they went to Nicole and said, hey, is this the element or is this the fuel that the being asked for? And so I think the confusion that's coming around is some of the people trying to validate certain parts of the story and figure out where the programs are. And that's where it gets confusing, because the story isn't really even supposed to be out there yet, right?
Well, ding. But yeah, this is like the tag team. Here I am. I'm tagged in. How can I people's elbow this out there? This is also where it pays to know your boring nuts and bolts khaki pant mafia side of ufology, because there are similarities. And this is also what's fun about connecting experiencers with other experiencers, or when you find elements of stories in somebody else's story. So when I hear a story like this, it's kind of like I just pointed out, it makes me run every blue bean story I've ever come across in ufology. So find me all the blue beans. That ticks off a whole list. And then now that we're hearing little details, let's pull out every case I've ever heard that includes an egg-shaped craft. There's a list. Let's include every case that we've heard about with a craft leaving a base, possibly in distress, or landing possibly in distress. And then you can kind of cross-reference a story like, hey, wasn't that craft in Socorro, Mexico that Lonnie Zamora saw? Didn't he maybe think it was in distress? And it was egg-shaped, and it landed, and there was a being, but it was in a jumpsuit. You couldn't see what color it was. Did have arms and legs. I don't know.
All right. So that was the SOR Week in Review. Once again, a lot of awesome content. So purpose of this is, if you missed anything, did you miss anything this week? Did you miss any of these appearances this week? If so, you can jump into our archives because they are completely free right here at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. We have, as Dave says, a plethora of options for you to jump into. So catch any of those episodes we just saw. I'm going to have to go back myself because I know I was hit and miss for the last couple weeks. So, so like I said, this is for me just as much as it is for anyone else. So with that being said, that was the SOR Weekly Review. I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to my mother. Tonight is her birthday, or today, March 16th. So happy birthday to you, mother, out there. And also, funny thing is, tomorrow, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, is my father's birthday. So today, happy birthday, mother. Tomorrow, it'll be happy birthday, father. Bananas, right, for me. And so that's how we're getting it in. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and jump into our guest for the night and our topic for the night. So once again, these two gentlemen I had the pleasure of meeting when I filled in for Dave. Just happenstance, Dave got snowed in, I believe, one day. And I filled in, and I was able to meet these two gentlemen. We had a great conversation, and it was a must that we had to bring them back. Bring them back here for the after hours, and they are here to join us tonight. So they are the host of the podcast, and I want to even say it's a show. Let's call it a show. SVC Explorers of the Unknown. They're doing great work over there. If you guys have not gone ahead and checked them out, it's a must that you do so. The quality is there. It's a great show. Without further delay, let me go ahead and bring in our guest for the night, Mr. Evan B. Stone and Mr. Jack Vaisey, the two wonderful hosts of the SVC Explorers of the Unknown. How you guys been?
Great. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Glad to finally line this thing up and get you guys in here. Like I said, we gave high praise on the last show based on what I was able to see you guys were getting into and building with your show. And you've done even more since the last time we talked. The quality has just, I mean, it's on par with Discovery Channel. I mean, this is top tier stuff, guys. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of pick up where we left off. What's going on over there? I don't want to spoil anything. I know there was some bloody rocks and headstones. So I don't know where you guys want to get started with this, but I'll open it up to you guys here.
Do you want to take this one, Evan, or do you want me to go for it?
Jack, why don't you set up the story and
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, we just got done filming season 2. It's been crazy, honestly. Evan flew up here and we just started shooting again, and it was just like it was in season 1. It was natural. Things just started occurring. A lot of evidence, a lot of crazy things happened. We shot for 120 hours one week. He ended up flying in on a Wednesday, flying out the next Wednesday. It was insanity. A lot of late nights, but some of the best evidence I've ever caught in 20 years of doing this.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a little echo but maybe just me.
Yeah, it might be on Jack's end, I think.
Yeah, I do apologize. I think it's my let me just do this. I'm gonna mute that.
Yeah, you guys are doing great work over there, Evan. You're just raising the bar, man. I see you putting your tools to work over there.
That's
and
right.
You're putting together really good quality stuff.
Thank you. You're one of the people that actually we're hearing that back from, and we know what we're doing. And I work my little tail off at night, try to get it out. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to editing. I got to be great. Anything comes out of my edit bay back here, the lab I call it. Yeah, it's cool. When he says 7 days, it's just Jack and I filming, and we, film right when we get there. Everything, including setting up. Everything's content, right? And the way we roll, everything has a purpose. Like we go somewhere, we already kind of said, okay, something's leading us, right? So where we go, everyone we meet is part of this journey. And sure enough, it's crazy, but it is. It's cool.
Definitely.
I muted my mic just to make sure it wasn't me. It isn't my end, so. Don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hear them echo anymore. Do you, Evan?
No, not anymore.
I don't
Okay.
care
Ooh,
now
I do.
either.
I do, and I hear it. Maybe I'm the guy echoing.
Part of the live aspect, you gotta love it. You just gotta roll with it. And this is one thing me and Evan have been working on. With doing the live aspect that we're doing, we now have Starlink internet, and we're starting to take people live at the locations that we do these investigations at. And Evan is that guy that went out and shot those TV shows, and he's like, I want it to look like this, but with the live aspect, you got to be expecting things to go wrong, and you just got to roll with the punches.
Yes, agreed. And so I could tell you that the on the production end, everything sounds fine, Evan. So you don't have to do too much. But I wanted to know. So what I was watching was then the remainder of season 1. So it's episode 6, 7, 8, season 1. Okay. So I don't even know what you guys are doing for season 2. So what do you guys have planned? What's on the agenda for season 2?
I mean, we ended season 1 with like this cliffhanger of this like we found out, and I can give a little away here, that this graveyard where Napoleon Bonaparte's niece, Caroline Bonaparte, was, at the edge of the grave, there was this berm, this pushed up dirt, and all the graves, stacked in there. It was really upsetting to us. And then, then you just got to know that paranormally that's not good. And there's a lot of, stuff in the
Unsettled.
air. Yeah, exactly. They moved the gravestones, but they didn't move the bodies.
Yes. I was gonna ask you that. So I mean, so your feeling is that something nefarious happened there? Obviously, they pushed everything to the side, and that's not a good look. What did you? Because I know you guys. The last I saw, you were investigating into the berm, and you had actually uncovered a couple things within the berm. So what was that?
There's a lot that we found in there. I mean, the night that we went out, that we located the graves with the granddaughter from the woman that owns Caroline Bonaparte's house, we found actually coyote or wolf scat. The next day, we were hearing howls. We heard something in the brush next to us. We ended up locating that, and it was definitely terrifying to know that we were only like 10, 15 feet away. But the most disturbing part was finding the amount of graves that were pushed up. We're still trying to locate a map, and when you go back to the whole talk about nefarious things that could be happening at this town, the town burnt down 3 times. Nobody knows how either. There's kind of a mystery to why. And at this point in that town, it was fighting for the county seat, so it was supposed to be the center of this location, of the surrounding areas. And there was an alternate town that was competing against them, and they ended up getting the seat. So there's a lot of during the day when you go down in Oxbow, it's gorgeous. It's like you're stepping back in time. It's a time capsule itself. But when you get there at night, there's some different kind of feeling that the spirits are more alive there. And that's what we're excited about to do with the live thing, is just take people there and have them experience that.
Yeah, we say it's the Oak Island of paranormal. It's our Oak Island. It's our like honey hole. It's like one place where there's entities, there's cryptids, UFO. I mean, all this stuff is right here. And as a TV guy, as a storyteller, I'm less like, oh, we could go around the country and do. No, this is right here is the most unique.
Great.
Of the story is it's just where Jack lives almost. It's like in his area. I know he wants to go travel the world like I did, but I'm like, no,
I mentioned,
where you live.
But
is really
he's right. Best. He's right. Like he gets it. I mean, it's a lot of people. I've worked with other ghost hunters and worked with other people who are like big in the industry, and they're like, dude, you got to get out of this area. And I've always been like, hey, no, dude, I'm telling you, this is Oak Island. This is cursed land. There's so much here. And when he goes back to what Evan was saying about the UFO, it's funny. Literally 2 days ago, I'm sitting on my phone and I have a scanner group that I'm on for my Facebook page for our local county. And it says UFO spotted literally 20 minutes from Oxbow, 30 state trooper cars and armored vehicle en route chasing. And I'm just sitting there at like 1 o'clock in the morning going, gotta send that to Evan. So I mean, there's things that happen up here, and it's such a remote area that nobody's heard about it. And that's the thing, like with this Caroline Bonaparte story, it wasn't just about telling the ghost story. It was about telling her story. Nobody knew she was there, and her grave was just kind of deteriorating. It's kind of sinking into the ground. There's a sign that's all angled, and it's a princess of Spain basically, and she's just being forgotten. And it's not just because she's a princess of Spain that she's important, but because she was a part of the Underground Railroad and she did so much stuff selflessly, and it's something that needs to be remembered. So actually, I'm working right now. I'm building a whole thing going on this spring where we're going to actually go clean up the graveyard, pick up branches, and we're going to readjust the sign so it's more stable and back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, it was a shocker to me when I first got there. I was like, wait, what? This is like the movie's coming out, Napoleon, and his niece is right here and it's listing. And but we kind of claim that maybe she wanted it that way. She wanted to be undercover, witness protection, just hidden because she's doing this work. that if she was caught, she'd be, be big
Yeah.
consequences. So we kind of gathered that I know if I was put in her shoes, I'd be like, just keep it quiet. I don't need to be fanfare here, and it worked. And the entity on the bridge that we got, a full body apparition, which the best evidence I've ever had, it turns out was her, still ushering the entities into the afterlife. I mean, that was a mind blower. We're like, what?
First of all, in season 2, the stuff just keeps on happening. We've gone back to the bridge, and I can give a little bit away, not like evidence wise, but we're beginning season 2 how we started season 1. We're gonna end it. We're gonna complete the whole story. We got a lot of evidence. I think season 2's episode 1 is going to be one of my favorites that I've ever done, because it brought me to tears when we got to continue and finish that whole circle that happened.
That's right.
But yeah.
And
I just want to answer one thing to one of your followers. Van Gold asked if this was in Mocksville, North Carolina. It's in Oxbow, New York. So it's at the top of New York State. So I just wanted to answer their question because I saw it on there.
He's like, that town sounds familiar. One in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys, I mean, and that's the thing, I mean, because when we spoke first time, I was taking over for Dave, so it is a chance that this audience didn't really catch everything that was said in the first interview. So to kind of back up a little bit, I guess if you guys wouldn't mind talking about the area, maybe even recapping what we talked about on season 1 earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan, do you want to take this, or you got okay?
Jack,
So
you're the storyteller.
I grew up in Oxbow. I grew up right outside of Oxbow, New York. I grew up in a town called Norfolk, New York, about an hour away, but I spent a lot of summers out here in this area. Oxbow is a really, really small town. Population of 160 people, and it's just this town that has buildings that haven't been touched since the 1800s. They still sit there, abandoned, and there's a lot of ghost stories that come out of there. And one of the stories was about a lady in white on the bridge and on the dirt road that goes across by the Oswegatchie River. And basically what people were seeing was her walking the bridge. They were also seeing floating lights on the river. So, I went down there. I started talking to Evan about it. We both went down. We did this investigation. And the very first night being there, we have something starting to make rhythmic drum beats on our bridge. And I say our bridge because it's like, how paranormal investigators get, and they're like, yeah, this is our spot, this is our honey hole. The bridge it's like at the when we start season 2 in episode 1, we both get like teary-eyed because we don't want to leave. Like we realize that the investigation is done, and we've done what we wanted to do, and that's find out who the lady in white is. And we did. We did at the end of season 1 it was Caroline. And I want you guys, if you guys are watching this, definitely go check out all the episodes, because I think it tells so much more than just a ghost story. We'd like to take the history. I mean, this is our saying is, telling history one ghost story at a time. And I think that's the really cool part about our show.
And what the cool thing is these unanswered questions, right? That we can't get, not in writing, whatever, no spoken word. Well, that's when we ask the entities. That's the clues, and that's when we go live. And that's what we did. Shooting for season 2, we actually went live on the bridge once we knew her name, and we spoke her name. And now we had a trigger object. We had, so now everyone's live and they know the story. And that kind of brings us into us proof of concept on the storytelling idea of going live at the cliffhanger at the 3rd act, which we're totally obsessed about. We hope we hope this goes, because we just love it. We love this. We think it's so
incredible.
Cool. Yeah.
And the other thing is, it looks like Evan might be coming back up in April. We're hoping first week. We have the solar eclipse that's going to be happening in that week. We want to do a paranormal investigation live from the bridge during a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, because I know we talked when we talked at first, we talked about how important, telling the story is for the region, just for the regional people there, to kind of complete the story. So I can kind of can feel what it is that you're saying when you guys have to close this, as you've done everything that you can do and you kind of have to walk away. So I guess what do you, so Are we season 2? Is where do you end season 2, finalizing this, or are you going into something else in season 2 as well?
It's like a can of worms, really. If you open it up, and we got this one story that really leads us to something else, which is, Jonathan Bonaparte, the brother, lived there and had a huge properties there, and he had the treasure of Spain at the time, and he took the whole thing. Well, where is it? Right?
Yeah,
I got
the whole story with Joseph is absolutely insane. It's when Napoleon had the fall at Waterloo, he ended up Joseph came over here and was basically just trying to make a new French Revolution in upstate New York, with Canada being only an hour or two away. With other French diplomats and supporters over there, it could really grow. And I mean, it really makes you think, like, what could have happened if Napoleon actually went through with this? Because he actually told Joseph, "No, I'm leaving." And he ended up sailing away and ended up getting captured and then hung for his crimes.
Yeah, he had to sell the Louisiana Purchase because the war was going on. He kind of lost that one, and this is a land where the War of 1812, the French Indian War, the Civil War.
Mhm.
This land is just blood soaked, right? And the cool thing is, there's no commerce. It's cursed, right? These buildings everywhere from the 1800s that you could buy for like $50, right? Like and every one of them's haunted. So Jack and I are driving around going, "Ooh," on
So fun. Yeah, literally we're on realtors.com at like 2 o'clock in the morning because we're out ghost hunting. We're like, "Hey, look, this one looks creepy. Let's go look at this."
right. And the
That's a
bones
good
of it are
one.
from the 1800s. It's really the last look. It's an hour and a half from Syracuse, up near the border, from the Great Lakes. It's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like
Mhm.
it's in America, it's hard to find the middle of nowhere, really. But this is,
And
Yeah.
it's the Adirondacks, right? Is where this
Yeah, it's
town is
right
located.
outside.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right outside the Adirondack region. From Oxbow to the official Adirondack State Park would be about 45 minutes. But I mean, it's the same kind of wilderness. You got, ponds, mountains, hills, just every bit of wildlife. It's crazy. The
Yeah.
amount of Bigfoot stories out here are absolutely
Right.
insane.
I mean,
Right.
Like
it goes.
he's right. It is. It's an Oak Island, not of just paranormal, but paranormal cryptids and UFOs.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a
true. Yeah.
whole part of the Adirondacks right outside of Lake Placid that there was almost, I think they said, over 100,000 acres that was owned by the United States government, that people would actually see hovering lights over the college. We got to think of the name. It's the culinary school in the Adirondacks. They would say that they would see lights and they would hear military aircraft coming in, and there's no airfield.
There's tons of
There's
stories.
some crazy stuff that happens up there.
This isn't the stuff that's like in we're going to the haunted hotel or the Queen Mary. This is like when Jack and I slip in there like at night, like we're like, okay, you ready? We have the GoPros on us, and we're filming with our phones, and we slip out. It's like kind of dangerous. It's like bears, like this
Wolves.
dog man. I've learned about the hoof lady. Like there's all these cryptids, but also there's other things that can kill you. So it's a little different. It's not like, hey, be quiet and I hear something. I'm gonna go up and what? Surprise it.
Right.
If it's Bigfoot, he's gonna But it's a
So
little scary actually. We had to bail one time because of bears.
Black bear.
Bear. Yeah.
well, and not even that. I mean, going and I guess we can get into this, but you guys have mentioned dogmen obviously being out there, and I've heard other people say the same thing about the Adirondack. But you mentioned something called a bear beast. What in the world is? I've never heard of that. What
It
is
is
that?
so my cousin is a part of the Akwesasne Mohawk tribe, and he brought it to my attention that it's a story that's been going back a couple hundred years. Um, Basically, it is a bipedal bear. Not just like a regular bear would be walking, but they said that it has the body of what people have described as a Bigfoot. The paws are actually still bear paws with long claws, and they stand anywhere from 7 to 10 feet tall. They're massive. When he told me this, I was like, okay, like that just sounds like something that, you know, somebody makes in D&D. Is it an owl bear? Like, you know, I hear that kind of story and I'm like, okay. But I started hearing some stories from some people. And one guy told me his story, and with the fear that he had in his eyes, it was just kind of like, as an investigator, when you watch somebody tell a story, the most important thing is watching how they make eye contact, watching their description of the event. And that's when you can tell somebody's really honest. And this guy was terrified. And he wasn't a small guy either. He told me basically he was out in the woods. It was around deer season, and he ended up running into one. And
Are you guys?
We thought it was just a regular bear.
Well, I mean, the picture you showed looked pretty menacing, but do you guys touch on that in season 2? The bear beast?
We do start to touch into all the cryptids that are up here. We're starting to do a thing in every episode called Monster Breakdown, where we go in more in depth. I just wrote a book recently, actually just a couple days ago, an ebook that came out on our Patreon about 10 top 10 things that you bring on a ghost hunt. Now we're doing the Monsters of the Northwoods is going to be our next ebook, and it's describing all of these just amazing cryptids. I mean, we have Champy up here, which is like the Loch Ness Monster. We have the Janosqua, which is the Iroquois Bigfoot. You have Dogman, Hoof Lady. There's so many different stories up here, and I just got one from the reservation. Actually, I was very honored to sit down with a couple people. I was at a diner. I told them what I did, and usually they kind of keep quiet. They don't share their stories, and they were like, "Hey, come here." And we're all sitting around the table, and they started telling me stories about the serpent of the St. Lawrence, which is this large snake that is been spotted in the St. Lawrence River for hundreds of years. And this guy he was in his 80s, sat there and told me a story about when he was a child. He saw this thing by his boat, and he was in the water as a kid swimming around, and it touched his leg and went down, and he watched it go into this cave and disappeared. He said it was 3 times the size of their boat, and they had a 15-foot little schooner. So hearing these stories, I'm like, okay, we're starting to build a map. We're starting to build sightings, and I'm starting to keep a logbook of everything that we experience and when these happened. Try to get some, stuff that way.
That's right.
Yeah, and
I mean, we're talking about the American Indian, Native American folklore, and now we're talking. There's some stuff that we haven't heard about that's as real as anything else, and and it's crazy because Jack and we saw something in the river. We actually have footage of it. Going down to, and then we say, well, what is that? And Jack's like, well, there's a story about this. What? It's like, again, everything leads us to these. Just opening up into the stories. It's so cool.
Yeah, and I actually want to touch on, because I noticed when you guys, and I guess we'd be 2-part thing. We could talk about the bloody rock, because I know last time we talked about the bloody stick, and kind of want to see what the similarities are there. But then also I want to get into the type of equipment you guys have stepped it up in the last few episodes, and the imaging software, whatever it is you're using out there, is I think is going to change the game on allowing you to show things in more detail. Just like with the rock, you were able to scan that and kind of get it into this 3D realm where it could be examined by someone else, which is pretty awesome. But before I have you guys answer that, even jump into that, we're actually at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and pause for the cause, take our first break for the night as we get ready to come back with our guests Evan B. Stone and Jack Vaisey of SVC Explorers of the Unknown when we come back right here on Spaced Out Radio. You guys, please get your questions ready too, and hopefully I think we might have someone that drops by later on. I guess we'll see, but we'll see you guys in just a minute here. Yes. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hours number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, and our guests, Mr. Evan B. Stone and Jack Vaisey, hosts of the show SVC Explorers of the Unknown. You guys got to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I see it's growing. The content is getting even more awesome. They're raising the bar. So totally glad to have you guys here with us tonight, guys. Thanks for coming on in.
I like that
Absolutely.
Megadeth you were playing or something.
Like we were rocking out. We were definitely rocking out.
I'm over here like,
so. Yeah, hey, me too. I can't every break we do it, but
And the first one was nice, like a fusion, jazz fusion. I like that. Was that?
okay. Okay. Thank you. I picked the music, so thank you. Yes.
well done.
Thank you. So with that being said, once again, I'm telling everybody it's an awesome show. They have to go and check it out. I just keep praising the quality that you guys are pushing out over there. I mean, it's really awesome. It looks like some network programming. It should be. Are you hoping to get it picked up on the network, or?
I mean, my agent keeps calling and said, "What are you doing? And when am I going to see something?" I say, "Oh, because it got to be right. You got to do it right the first time. You pitch this stuff out there to these executives. There's like 3-4 of them in a room. It's not like a committee, and then how they feel that day. So you got to be perfect. You have to be real one time. And now that we finished season 1, we're making what they call a sizzle reel. We're making casting reel. We're making the deck. We're making proof of concept scene work. These are all things that they're going to roll out of what his season is. But we're not going to stop because if we don't have one, because I think all of television's moving is differently. Everyone's on their phones, and now it's going to subscription-based content programming, which we're getting into as well. It's really cool. It's a cool time as being a filmmaker, as a storyteller. You don't have to be like, it doesn't go on a network, it doesn't air. No, it goes to YouTube, it goes to all these platforms. We grow our fan base, and we give them more. With so much on the cutting room floor, there's this evidence stuff. So we're really excited about expanding, not just the show, but creating an off-platform destination, really, that's going to have a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, it's cool. It's telling a story a different way. Yeah.
And we have a new person that just joined us, Caleb River. He's really amazing. He does graphic design. He's really good with social media marketing. He's really going to be helping us step up our game with not only our thumbnails, but he's going to be joining us as an investigator too. And this, I think, is going to be the first time that he's getting into this field. And I think it's great to bring new eyes in and teach them how to investigate properly. So I'm really excited to have him joining along with us. And we just announced that last night, actually, onto our page.
He's the
That
fish
is
out of
awesome.
water, the fish out of water that comes, it's always eyes on them, hearing stuff for the first time. What was that?
Yeah.
How about that? What is that? Right? And what?
And it's
A couple times
being.
we've done that.
And I think you made a good point when you said you get the one shot right. It has to be presented perfectly. And I'll say, I mean, it's definitely the groundwork is being laid in a manner where you could tell that's where you intend to take it. You guys, you mentioned earlier your slogan, or I guess you said telling a story. Could you repeat what you said? What is I don't want to mess it up. I know I'll mess it up. You're telling the story.
Telling history one ghost story at a time.
Yes, there you go, right there. The catchphrase that should win right there, because I think that says it all right there, and it's very important. I think if you have a hook out there like that, then that will entice a lot of people to want to get your services to come in and tell some of those stories. So, I'm seeing the bigger picture further down the road, right? And obviously, I know that's where you want to go with it, but it's just cool to see it play out in real time. We talked last time. You're at a certain point. You said you wanted to take it to this other place, and that's what you've done. So you guys are delivering on what it is that you set out to do, and then telling the stories, which is one of the most important parts of even doing this. So I have buddies that work that go out and do Bigfooting and stuff like that out in Adirondack, and they talk about all the crazy weird things that happen out there. So we were talking about the bear beast, which I've had never heard of, and then you have the dogmen. And so what other type of cryptids or things what could you expect to run into out there in the Adirondacks?
I mean, honestly, the Adirondack region is massive. 7 million acres. I sent you our sign too. This is our new logo that we just came out with too. But going into the Adirondacks, there's a lot of different things that you can, run into. As far as cryptids go, Bigfoot is definitely the biggest one that you'll be able to, well, possibly run into. Dogman, I wouldn't want to run into. I've only had 2 experiences in my life, and both of them were absolutely terrifying. Hoof Lady she is basically the Baba Yaga of the Iroquois tribe, their folklore. There are different versions of the story. That's one thing I'm researching on, is figuring out who she is. One story is she goes after abusive men. The other story is she lures children into the woods and they're never seen again. Wendigos, skinwalkers, all those. Like, there's so much over here that you could run into potentially.
And I hear Wendigo is something that's pretty creepy. And I know the native. We have Travis Moose, who's up in. He's not in British Columbia. Saskatchewan, I think, is where he's at.
Okay.
And he talks about. Well, he says it's a name that you shouldn't even say. Like, do you know the background on Wendigo, or I heard
a little
that's not
bit.
nothing you want to see.
You're not supposed to say Skinwalker or Wendigo. And it's basically going back on the whole belief of, with a demon, if you know a demon's name, you don't say it because it gives it power. You're recognizing that it is in existence. I've only ran into the Wendigo spirit once in an investigation. I was on the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation. It's actually funny because if that didn't happen, me and Evan wouldn't have happened. And Evan doesn't even know the story. But I was called out to a place. It was actually my cousin Dave's. This is the first time we started, talking about the paranormal stuff. And he said that there was a lot of weird stuff happening on their property. There was somebody in their household was getting sick. They had chickens that were going missing. The animals were acting weird. Everybody just had a negative feeling there. So I went I went and took all my paranormal equipment and we went out. We had a campfire. We burned sage, and I started asking the question, who's here? And I said, show yourself. Like I started, I don't usually get provoking, or I'm not usually very demanding, but when it went after one of my family members, it kind of made it personal. And that's when I realized I got to take a step back a little bit. And so we're sitting around the campfire, and in the distance, and this is all caught on video, actually, and this was on a TikTok live. And I do still have some of the videos. I'll have to download them, and maybe next time, if you have us on, I'll have that.
Yeah, for sure.
But you could see this figure walk out of the woods, and it was a full body apparition. Everybody could see it. His mother gets up. His mother comes over, is looking at the camera. We're looking over there. You couldn't see it with your own eyes, but you could see it on the camera. And she's freaking out. And all of a sudden, the K2 meter that's sitting next to the fire gets pushed. And there's no wind. You can see the flames right next to it, and it just gets shoved and it lands sideways. Now, I sent this to Ben Hansen from Fact or Fake Paranormal Files. I was like, Ben, you got to see this. So me and Ben got talking, and then I found Evan through Ben. And that's kind of how me and him connected. So,
Wow.
but yeah, no, that was, and through the SB7 Spirit Box, the name Wendigo came through. And I had asked, I said, are you, actually my cousin Dave asked, are you a spirit of a Wendigo? And that's when the K2 went over, and the SB7 said that, and Dave just looks at me and goes, I shouldn't have asked. I shouldn't have said it.
Why?
And that's when I asked him, why don't you say it? And he goes, that's when it gives it power, is when you recognize it.
And then you said it again, so it gets more power, and you're like, shut up. Like, stop.
Well, and that's the thing. It's all on a belief basis, honestly. That's a lot of things with the paranormal. We don't know how the paranormal works. We have these superstition about, like, okay, does that give them energy, or is it like you saying, like, Evan, if you had passed on, if I came up and said your name, you'd be like, oh wait, hey, someone knows my name. So is it that, or is it actually giving it power? I don't know.
Ancient Egyptians, they were all about that. That's why they chiseled out on a knock when one of the kings, that the hands in the face, because you can't say his name, and they just wiped him out. And so they believe in that big time.
Wow. I saw also you had a kit full of equipment that you were using, had all sorts of meters and seemed like recording devices and things of that nature. So what is that, a kit you put together yourself, or is that what was that? I know you had at least 6 or 7 items in there.
That's Big Bertha. That's what I call her. She's evolved over the years. Originally, my first kit was a backpack. It was a JanSport backpack. Then it moved to a rolling toolbox, and now this is a Pelican rifle case with memory foam, where I've actually taken every piece of equipment that we have and outlined it, cut the memory foam out. So actually in my book that talks, there's chapters in the book that I wrote about certain things like equipment that you want to bring, and one of them is actually about the equipment case, and it evolves due to what kind of investigation you're going to be doing. Like if you're going into an area that's remote and you got to hike 3 miles into the woods, you don't want to be carrying Big Bertha down there. You want to do a backpack, you want to do something that's can be put on your back, so things like that. So yeah, Big Bertha has she has, oh god, Lantern REM pod. She's got geopods in it, EVP recorders, battery packs, GoPro, night vision, parabolic microphone, digital thermometer. She's a one-stop go stop. So
and it's going to get better, right?
I mean, you cut it out. It looked real nice. I thought it looked factory made, but looking at that, I saw one of the tools that you were using, which is pretty awesome, and I didn't realize until I watched a little longer what it was doing. But you guys were able to go to certain headstones that had worn off the writing essentially, and you were able to use night vision, was it, to be able to read the text on the headstone? I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
He uses night vision, and that picks up a lot of stuff, the way you position the light. But Evan uses AI to basically bring those things out, things that have been lost through the elements and everything like that.
Okay, yeah. Perfect segue. Because, and let me start here, actually. Let me start here because The first time we talked, we were discussing the first few episodes of the series, and in one of these episodes, Mr. Jack Vaisey here went ahead and found this stick sticking out of the ground, covered in a material that would appear to be blood. And then Jack took the stick from the location and took it home. And you had some things happen, you said, after that, right? Some things that made it to where you would never do that again.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm never like that. I never take things, but I guess when I looked at it at first, I thought, our plan was taking over the state troopers, and actually episode 0 that never actually released. It's not out right now, we might bring that footage back up. There's actually a video of me talking with the state troopers about the branch and saying I have it, and they said you got to bring it to this barracks because it's not ours. Yeah, I didn't take it because I thought it was haunted or that I was ritualistic. I took it because I thought it could be a possible crime scene, something that, with the weather being the way it was, could deteriorate and be gone after a while. But yeah, I've had to pass the branch on to a haunted collector who also took another item that I had a long time ago. And yeah, there was shadow entities in my house, footsteps going up and down the stairs, hearing people talking. And the other day, actually, right before it was taken, I found the branch outside of the box that it was put in, sitting in the middle of my garage. So yeah, it's gone now. It's no longer. It was taken. So yeah.
I could kind of put some, for the viewers, listeners, what we're talking about here. We're in the woods, going to Bonaparte Lake, where there's supposed to be a cave and there's supposedly treasure. That just leads us. We're out, right? Let's go. We go about halfway through, and we start to say, "Well, where are these caves?" And since I've traveled with Expedition Unknown, a lot of lost cities that have been enveloped by the jungle, you kind of get a sense of, like in El Mirador in Guatemala, of these, what a mound is. Is it a mountain or is it a pyramid? You start to get like impressions, and the earth is, oh, that's a road, like, and I was like, this kind of looks exactly like something like that, and my foot fell through into a cavity, and I was like, and this is like Expedition Unknown, man. This is like Destination Truth. Wheels are turning, right? Okay, so what is that? In Expedition Unknown, any storytelling, if you discover something, you got to play it out. You got to go full loop. They call it the smoking gun. They call it the gun on the table in storytelling. If you see a gun on the table, it's going to be used, right? So, a lot of times when you're out in a whole day shooting, we don't know the story's going to happen. And for Jack and I, it just happens. So we kind of rolling with it. And then Jack goes, "What the hell is this?" And is a stick sticking out, and it was just drenched in blood. Okay, now this is like right away I'm thinking, oh, what's bleeding out and where is it, right? Because this thing has to, this is like, what is it, right? We're concerned it's a human, and we're like, oh, forget the show, let's bring this, let's go to the police, because it could be a crime scene. And then things turn into a crime scene, then it's good for TV, but that's not what we're into. We kind of,
we're not a crime show and stuff. Well, the funny thing is, Evan's like looking at it and he's going, "Oh man, should we, GPS mark and come back with the cops and blah blah." And he's talking, and I'm just like, I rip it out of the ground. And he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like,
he ripped it right out the ground, man.
And I'm just wondering, like, I actually told one of my friends, they saw the footage of that and they went, "Dude, I think the spirit wanted you to take it." And I was like, "Don't say that. Stop saying."
I mean, I wasn't even thinking spirit. I mean, think about this as crime scene, and you're trenching all over it with your footsteps,
and the weird part
bungling
is,
it up.
There was a bunch of leaves that were like spread out, like something was laying next to where it was.
Yeah,
it was all matted down. But the thing is, we never got it fully tested. We sent it. We called the cops. I also called my friend who's a retired Suffolk County police officer. He goes, "Here's the way that you can test if it's human blood. Smell it." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "If you smell it and it's metallic, it's human. If you smell it and it's got this berry, like rotten vegetable kind of smell, it's an animal. You're dealing with a deer." There's a good chance that, a buck, may have gotten hurt. What they'll do is they'll roll in mud and they'll roll against something hard and they'll pack the mud into their wound to be able to get it to naturally heal up. So we both smelled it and it was metallic. It was very, very metallic. It was like I was smelling a penny. So at that point, that's when we called the cops. We talked to a detective down in Watertown, New York, and then I talked to a couple of state troopers. And basically, because there was no body, there was no foul play. They couldn't. There's tape. There's those lines that they can't cross until they get the proper stuff.
And they said, but if you guys go there and you find anything, let us know. This is like at a Twin Peaks, right? Where it's like cover up. Like, what? Wait, what? But they don't want to know that there's something out there, right?
Yeah, let us know what you found. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, and that's what he said. He's like, if you find a body, let us know. And I'm like, okay.
Right. So we go back there that night because I'm like, we can't let this lie. We have to go back there. We go back that night, and this is in season 2.
This is gonna be in season 2. Yeah.
And then that's that. Well, at nighttime we go up there and
I'm just like, I gotta be careful what I say.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Definitely.
I'm so excited, dude.
Because
it is.
And Jack and I talk in the car about like real things, right? Like we have the GoPro going always, and we talk about like, what is it? And there must have been something bleeding out. Even if it's an animal, what did that? It's such big open wounds, like, so Bigfoot, or it's a hunter, but there's no hunting there. It's off limits, but people poach. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And then a few days later in a graveyard, Jack again is like, what's this? And right in front of us is this rock that's just soaked in blood. And now it's like getting like and the town's like, it's kind of weird and warped and kind of, it's everything's off. The people you meet are off. The town itself, the places, everything's like they're hiding something.
Everybody knows what you're doing there. Yeah. Like we were filming the church with the drone and people came out. I saw Daphne's question. What was that thing that exploded when you put it in the box? I thought that was a bloody branch. So Daphne, it was. There's still remnants of the branch. It actually, okay. So when I put the branch away, the guy that I called, he's a psychic medium. He actually took. I used to have a piece of the Amityville house. I had the last existing piece of it, and I did a paranormal investigation around it, and things kind of went sideways. I gave it to him. It's been good and protected now. So I gave him a call. And he's like, take the branch, put it in a box, put salt in the box around the branch, put the box on the ground, put salt around the box, leave it be, and I'll be there to get it. And so when I did that, I put salt on the branch. All of a sudden, the branch explodes. Like it went from one piece to like 30 different pieces.
That could be
I don't know why.
The salt taking the moisture and doing something with it. It could be, right?
Very well. I mean, you can't go straight to paranormal. I don't know. It could be, there could be multiple things. There could have been, I don't know. All I know is that the salt, it scared the crap out of me when I heard it pop, though. I had a video of it popping, and I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come across the bloody rock, right? And I guess, I mean, in the episode that I saw, you hadn't determined too much of what it was. I know you scanned it. So you're getting into using the scanning equipment. What was that you were using? Was that the thing that had the blinking lights on it? Was that what the scan tool was?
Yeah, it's a LiDAR. So what it does is basically a lot of your phones this day and age can actually use LiDAR. And what that does is it takes multiple photos at different angles and it makes a 3D rendering of an object. And the reason they came out with this is actually for 3D printing. People will see things in public and they're like, oh man, that's really cool. And they do a 3D scan. Now they can go and put that file into a 3D printer and able to print that item. That's how a lot of people are fixing things this day and age. You get something like a cell phone and you have a case, but there's a little you want to protect your phone right here where the camera is. So you do a scan of this area. Then next thing you know, you can print something and pop it right onto your phone and you have a lens cover.
Nice.
Yeah. And we use an app. What's the app we used for that on our iPhones?
I can tell you that in just 1 second. Let me bring out my other phone.
Most iPhones, it's that little lens on an iPhone.
Polycam, and it's amazing. And you're going to see it come in season too as well, because we had some crazy stuff happen and we needed to scan stuff.
Now
Yeah.
when we talked last, and I don't know if you have any of this that you can show Evan, but you mentioned and we had an idea of running some sightings or things through this AI software that you had. You had said as well that you had already run something, which I think is kind of controversial, could be depending on the results. The Bigfoot film, the Patterson Gimlin, the historic film that you'd run this through AI. Now, I've talked to a mutual acquaintance that is aware of what those results were, and he said that it's mind blowing. And I don't know if you have that to show or if
Yeah,
that's
I got
something
it
that we
to
can get
show.
into. Okay,
Yeah.
because this was something that was interesting, and you know, it goes to say, right, you don't just jump on a bandwagon immediately. You take a look at the evidence, process it to determine how you feel about it, and then go from there. So maybe it shows that yes, this thing was Bigfoot, and maybe it shows, hey, guy in a suit, guys. And I don't know, I have not seen this, so I can't say. But
What it is, that first time I got my hands on AI to clean up photos, first thing I think of is cold case crimes that are based on blurry images. Okay, that's because I want to like help. Let's like in my mind it's like, oh, and then I thought Bigfoot. I thought the Gimlin film. I thought all the ones that, because I was like, ooh, that's a TV show. Like cold cases based on blurry photos and AI can uncrack it, like it's doing with a lot of hieroglyphs and stuff. Archaeology is using AI to uncover and to look at things a different way. And what I do is I just get into the shadows. I open up the shadows. I take out the grain. I'm not adding. I'm not telling it. Dark night. Moon shadows, high resolution. These prompts that get you places. I didn't. I just cleaned up the photo, and we're full transparent about this. I record as I'm doing it every single time, and I want to. Hey man, it's just another piece of evidence.
yeah,
And you know
another
what?
way to look at it.
It's creepy because there's a ghost in the machine, and it's real scary. And we know how this is going to end. We've all seen Terminator, right? Right. I mean, but while it's here, it's going to help me with editing. It's going to help me with some tech stuff.
with menial tasks as of now until it takes over the world next week, right? So I have something, and I'm adding it to the stage, but it's not showing up for whatever reason.
Was that our sign?
Yeah, the SVC. Oh, yeah, SVC Explorers of the Unknown is what
It
I
might
can
be
see.
I didn't put this up.
Ah, okay. Oh, this is the new logo you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
what our new logo looks like now. So just wanted to share
Got
that,
it.
and then you can see telling history one ghoster at a time below it. And stuff,
Yeah. Okay, definitely. Okay.
It's just Jack and I, and we're filming and editing everything. Now we have Caleb, God bless him. But it's like we want to show people, and this would be a curriculum that we run out there. Look, everyone, if you go out there ghost hunting, it's either a fishtail that you tell people or you show them something, right? And I'm all about I'm all about getting it on camera. I don't walk into a room and say, "Oh, I feel something." I'm like, "Let's get it on camera." And we've had some great results. Now we got all this tech. It's great, and some of the tech is super low tech, and you have to know when to.
See, I like that though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
super
I'm that
low
kind of
tech.
person. I like low tech stuff
Yeah.
because they don't make it like they used to. It's that old saying, and I think it's interesting to incorporate that with the new stuff. I just wanted to show you real quick, Rob. This is what the my book looks like. This is the front cover of
Yep.
that.
Let's bring
So
that up. Let me see. Top 10. Oh, you can't zoom. Oh, there you go. Top 10 things you need on a ghost hunt. Okay, exactly. And so you outlined the equipment that I saw then in here. Okay.
yes, there's a lot of different pieces of equipment. there's also some really good advice. This is kind of like a book that is for people that are wanting to get into ghost hunting. They want to know, what do I need? What should I do? And I'll tell you what, it's 10 small. It's a 24-page ebook. We have it for $5 on our Patreon, and all the funding goes back into the show, into equipment, and stuff like that. I can tell you what chapter. It's not even called chapter 1. It's just number 1 is always bring another investigator with you. That is the key thing that I see so many young kids going out that are YouTubers, TikTokers that are going to these places, and it's dangerous. If you have it and you want to do it, and you want to put yourself at risk, go for it, I guess. But at the same point, in my mind, always have somebody with you because, with me and Evan going out like we do, even two of us in the areas that we go to, it's sketchy. I've had black bear, I've had wolf, I've had coyote. I've had some unexplained things happen to us while going out investigations with not just me and Evan, but actually with the investigators that I used to work with on J&J Adventures, and who actually came back for a live with us at the Russell Theater, the place that I started out at. We've all experienced stuff, and they share some of their stories, and I think some of that will be in season 2. The craziest thing that me and Dave experienced, my cousin, was in Vermont. We were in the mountains up in Cold Hollow, where this werewolf of Cold Hollow is supposed to be. We ended up on a back dirt road, got lost, and we got turned around. We ended up driving by this old, creepy abandoned house, and I'm talking like probably from early 1800s. Next thing you know, a dog runs out, and a naked 80-year-old with a shotgun.
Come on.
That's
Scariest.
crazy.
It was like Bill's have eyes. Like it was. All of a sudden, Dave sits and goes, "Is that a dog coming out? Is that a person?" I was like, "Dave, I don't think that guy's wearing clothes, and he's got a gun." And we literally booked it. And Dave's like, "Dude." And this is the biggest thing I always say to people is it's not the dead that scares me; it's the living.
True.
Jeez.
People ask me about all my adventures. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you? I say, oh well, and I you'd think, it's the Halabuchu Forest or the Chernobyl. I was in Egypt, and we were doing this Salawa as this rabid dog. I was like, I had my arms all wrapped up. I was like, if a dog's coming at me, and I was dressed like a full Ghostbuster. I mean, I had the pack with the can, the astroscope, and I looked all crazy because I don't want bugs, so I'm wrapping everything up. And I come out of this sugarcane field in Egypt, deep in Egypt, and there are these guys with the garb, I'm not sure what they call them, but the AKs, and they were talking, hey, they're fucking, what's going on? What are you doing? And I was just like, oh my god! I mean, barrel of these militia guys, not American militia. These are like each town. It's like they have their crew that protects,
Oh yeah.
And I was scared, and I called in Rami Romano, who was our fixer, who's famous for being on camera for Egyptology stuff. He came over and I just dipped out into the darkness and went back to the bus. And I was like, I was like, ouch.
Hey, at least your guys were dressed. Mine wasn't.
I mean, it was. Did you get some photos I sent? Did that go through?
Where did you send them to? The Facebook?
Maybe, yeah, the messenger.
Okay, yeah. Let me check there.
If you haven't,
I should have. Let me see.
But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's if people are the problem, right? Or in El Mirador, the city that's locked in the jungle in Guatemala, it was panthers that were scary. That and
Panthers are one you don't want to mess with either. Oh,
yeah, and those kind of animals, like you get this sense like the deer who's like locked up. He's like, I know there's something behind me, and it's making that low that grumble, that thing that that stops. And Bigfoot has it as well. And
infrasound. The infrasound you're talking about. I've actually have had one case where I had infrasound come in, and it was terrifying. That was down in Carthage, New York. There's a large state forest that has about, think they were right around 100,000 acres out there. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was camping out there, and literally these coyotes went into a frenzy, and then all of a sudden they went quiet, and then it sounded like they were getting ripped apart. And this howl came in, and you could feel the vibration in your chest, and I froze, and my girlfriend at the time froze. We were both just looking at each other, and she's like, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "We leave. We ain't staying. No, not after that."
Good friend,
Hey,
Sir
what's
Brian
up?
Bowden with the super chat, stopping through saying, Jack and Evan, I have the Tesla coils for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I will
And
message you, and I'll give you address.
Evan, I have not received those yet either.
Okay, let me get those to you.
Yeah, we're hoping to have my guy Brian Bowden come step on in and join us, but he hit traffic on the turnpike. And yeah, so you know how that is. So yeah, so hopefully we get him in there.
The Jersey Turnpike?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been on that.
If you're from Jersey and anywhere and you say from Jersey, you know what the expression is, right? What exit? They say, you know.
See, that's what I like about living in the sticks. All you have to worry about blocking you up here is another cars. It's if somebody's like cows get out, or there's a couple white-tailed deer in the middle of the road. I got to travel on the New Jersey Turnpike, and then I got to go through Boston.
Florida. No, Florida Turnpike.
Oh, Florida Turnpike. Oh, geez, that's
right.
even worse.
He's in Florida right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my family's actually down there right now. They're down right by Crystal River.
Yeah, so man, okay. Well, with that being said, we're gonna wait for these pictures here, and I'm just Brian. I talked to Brian a couple weeks ago, and he said he was privy to what these results were on this Gimlin thing, and he was just like, man, I'm not even won't even spoil it for you. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait.
Did you? How's that? Did you get them now? I was going to announce them.
Checking Messenger again.
Yeah, if Evan, if you need to send them to me, I can send them through to Facebook Messenger for us and everything, so we can get all that.
Okay, good. I'm just going to
But
send.
yeah, no, Evan knows that this one's a sensitive subject for me because Roger Patterson, like the Patterson Gimli film, was like the first thing that really got me interested in cryptids. I had my first experience when I was 8 years old, and I never really knew what I saw. In my mind, I thought I saw a orangutan or a gorilla or something, and I thinking, did it escape from the circus, the zoo? And then I see the Roger Patterson Gimli film, and I'm like, wait a second, that's what I saw. And it, I actually go into a part of that in one of the episodes with our monster breakdown, and what I saw that day was, around 8 foot tall, and it looked like a black haired orangutan.
That's what you were talking. Okay, I heard you speak on that.
Yep.
So yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's a sore place for a lot of people because
it needs to be explored.
It does. I mean, because there's a handful that fully are behind it, and there's a handful that say no, it's a guy in a suit. And so there's that line that's there, and anything to help clear the line is I'm with. So I'm anticipating these results. I don't know. I mean, then you can get an idea of what AI can do for old footage or some sighting that might be kind of obscure. So definitely going to be something good to look at.
I mean, the Roger Patterson Gimli film has been looked at so many times in so many different lights, too. I mean, there's people that have gone to the extent of getting an Olympic runner to copy how this Bigfoot walked in the video. And the results with that are insane as well. Just the way that the Sasquatch's legs were, the way the knees were buckled out, the way they were curved. Actually, he just sent me the photos. So I'm gonna send these over to you via Facebook Messenger.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I like, that's the thing about being an investigator is even though you have something like this that does mean a lot. Okay, you should have just gotten them as well from Evan on the Facebook group too. It needs to be explored. It needs to try to be debunked because that's a part of being a good investigator is looking at every angle.
It's the first thing I put up after I was like, what can I put up? what's the biggest mystery of blurred photos, right?
Yeah.
And within 3 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, maybe it's
that's
filling
it.
in the
Exactly.
blanks in a weird way, but it's
Mhm.
why not it just being what it is, right?
Well, and I
wanna
think the
believe
other thing too is, here.
And actually, let me see, because I have before I do that, because I should have the actual original
Ooh,
film here. Yeah, so let me see.
cool.
I've played it here
Reliving my
before.
childhood right now.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is I was we were looking at it one day, and because we were comparing it to the footage of the Bigfoot that was taken off of the train,
Oh
and
yeah, the
comparing the two, yeah,
I did that
because
too.
Yellowstone.
oh, you did that too. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
let
Okay,
me send it.
so let's see. Okay, here we go. This is the
Oh,
original
this is
film, everybody.
stabilization too with it.
Oh yeah.
Somebody stabilized it. Let's see.
That's cool. Yeah, there's some new stuff going on there. They cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, but the zooming in.
And I mean, with that kind of camera, there was no zooming
It,
unless you
you
put a
stick-
different lens on.
I think it was a 8mm or 16mm, right?
I believe it was a 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember it was one of those
now
ones you had to turn and you had to get the whole reel going.
Bolex. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on horseback when it happened, though, so that's why it's so bouncy. Is when that thing startled him and got him knocked off his horse, he had to pick up the camera and get it going, so he didn't have it on a tripod or a monopod. He's sitting there in that moment trying to capture it.
And
right.
there is another photograph, which is a tighter shot of the face. You got that one too?
I think so. Yep. Let me get back here. Okay, we got
And
this
this
one
is not,
here.
yeah. So that's the one that's real revealing. What does it look like? It looks like a piece of tape, like duct tape, across the eyes. I mean, maybe, yeah. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Duct tape.
Mhm.
Okay, I can see that. I can see
With
that.
like,
You can
with like
see where you're
pinhole.
going with it, yeah. The
But why
thing
would
for
Okay.
me, though, with this is, and I get where Evan's saying the whole duct tape thing, because I definitely can see it. The thing is with this one, there weren't suits like this back then. The detail, if you really like, I'm all for AI. And I have seen Evan take things and change. And this is where, like I said, we bash heads, but I love that about us because we're both looking at it from different angles. Back then, there was the movie The Planet of the Apes. There were no full Planet of the Apes suits. They only went to chest height, and down below it looked like a t-shirt. So a suit like this, and this was something that I got to watch on a documentary, because I've read books about this, I've watched multiple documentaries on this. At that time period, there were no full-length suits. And you actually can see muscle detail. With this, when the AI cleans this up, you can see where the skin is, and I think that's where Evan's saying the duct tape. I see black shine to a skin, but in the first original photo, what it looks like is you can actually see the brow, you can see the eye, you can see breasts, you can see the forearm, you can see the muscle, the deltoid. There's a lot there.
He doesn't want to give it up. Like once you
No,
believe,
I won't.
you got.
Well, it's not just
It's
that.
sad.
It's
Like
just,
imagine if it is a hoax. It's sad. You put all this
if it is a
emotional
hoax, then
investment.
I hope we break it. You know, I hope we do, because that's a part of what we do is trying to find out what's real and what's not.
I mean, this
And I
new
think AI, once it
technology,
progresses, I think
which is
once it
what
progresses, it's going to start taking a lot of things out. You're going to start seeing things. I just think right now, AI is at a very new stage. We're using it in the show. It's amazing to use in the show. And as AI progresses, I think our show is going to progress as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing that Evan is bringing into the show.
Yes, it's going to be a good tool to use. Now I know you just sent me something else, so let me check that real quick.
these are things we're doing with AI to clean up and investigate stuff that you would never see because of the grain, or you can't see in the shadows like that. So, I mean, I can see a speck in the sky and zoom in 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 just by, you know, putting it through AI to clean it up. There's the thing that's I think the original, and then I cleaned it up. I think on the next picture, that's the what sighting is
Clean
this?
up on this blows my mind, honestly.
Yeah, I just take a screen grab and then I fix it up with that, and it looks like a.
It's like Harry Anderson.
I mean, I thought it was legit. I was like, oh, but you know,
There's a lot of fur detail and layers.
Okay, so what is this in the center then? So I have the context.
I think that's the initial still grab that I got. I was just looking for anything. I think I saw it in someone's post. I just did a screen grab. So that's really
got it. Okay.
a bad quality version, and then I cleaned it up.
Okay. I see you.
So this here is you could kind of take it away, Jack, on this, and then I'll talk about how I got the photo.
So this was actually during one of my TikTok lives that I was doing. I take people on paranormal investigations, and this was when Evan was just starting to join, helping out with AI. We were down on the Oswegatchie River in a town called Richville, New York. We were at a bend in the river, and we just had gotten done with an investigation up the road. As we're driving, myself, my fiance, both looked off to the left, saw somebody. It looked like somebody standing next to the river. So we immediately stopped the truck. It was cold out that night. It was just weird to see somebody standing beside the river. So I hopped out, grabbed my spotlight, and I ran over and I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And I'm putting the spotlight on the person. I got the live going, and there's this fog that's come up around the river, so you can't really see too much, but see enough. And then all of a sudden, he was gone. Well, Evan went back and took the video footage that I had, and this is what he caught. And the crazy thing is, if you look at this this entity that's standing there, the outfit that he's wearing is actually, yes, that one right there. The outfit that he's wearing is the same kind of outfit that they would wear with the Iroquois that inhabited that land. The Oswegatchie River is the word Oswegatchie in Iroquois means black water. So that is actually one of the areas where they would, do fur trading, fishing, and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's any way to zoom into that anymore, but you can actually see that he's holding something in his arms. And
yeah, right here. I can on Facebook. Let me see.
Oh yeah. But when we zoomed into it, you can actually, it looks like what's called a story stick. It's something that you hold and you tell a story. It's something that actually the Boy Scouts of America ended up adapting and they use in their stuff. But it originated with the Native Americans, and there actually you can kind of see like a headdress off the back as well. And then behind it, there looks like there's another person standing behind a tree. And this was all caught on live.
Yeah. So actually, as he's going live, I'm taking screen grabs and sending them back 5 minutes later, blowing their mind. Right. So interactive storytelling, the audience is involved. Yeah, I mean, look at that. You can see the arm holding it like this, holding the stick like they do. And the head of it is really interesting because the clothing's kind of like you get it, like you're there. The head turns into this like foggy dust, like entity thing. Yeah, like you can't really, really make it out. But the clothing and everything else you can. The head is just really cool looking. I'd always say this stuff is cool. Every time we stumble on this stuff and we start getting into it like this level, I always just think this is the coolest thing ever because I'm fascinated by it. Like I got it on tape.
Yeah,
it's tough.
That's pretty remarkable. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable right there.
That was one of the craziest things that I've ever caught. And Evan was there to help me on that. And that's when we realized we needed to make a team.
Yeah. I was taking screen grabs as he's going, what's there? He didn't know what was over there, but I was like, what is in there? So I went, I basically put it into an app that cleaned it up, brought out the shadows, cleaned it up again, zoomed in, all these things.
I saw
Yeah.
a question from one of your subscribers too. She asked if any one of us were Native American. So I'm not Native American, but I grew up on the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation. My mom's a genealogist, and we used to volunteer our time over there. Ever since I was 8 years old, I was growing up over there, going to the museums, talking to the elders, and also learning about not only stories about the paranormal side and cryptid side, but about their heritage and everything like that. I had the honor of being able to attend a powwow, and it's absolutely incredible. It's the stories are amazing.
They don't let anyone in like that. That is very rare. I know you can't just walk on a res. They're very secretive how they live their lives, and
You got to be
it's
careful of where you walk. You have to be
right.
very, very careful. I've had things pulled on me before, and I'm not gonna go into that, but you have to. There's certain levels of respect and certain things, certain ways that you talk, and you
Sure.
just have to be respectful. That's all it is.
Yeah. They
Wow.
So this here is another again a picture. The wide shot you don't have, but it's the wide shot was started with Jack saying, "Hey, can you take a look at this photo?" It's I can't see the sun, and the sun was there, but it was kind of sundog. There's a thing maybe we're a fraction of mist. And then I looked in the photo. I said, "Well, what's this?" And then this thing was this fleck, and then I went to work with AI, and then you'll see a progression of what I did, and I mean, so yeah, it has a heat signature. This thing, it's displacing air. When you get a little closer, did I give you another one after that?
This was the last one.
Okay, well, if you can zoom into that, if not, I can send you another
Yeah.
one. Yeah, so basically, it's some sort of organic thing floating that's displacing air.
The thing is,
And
when I captured it that day, the weather was severe. There was a lot of high winds. It
that's
was
right.
cold out. Because my first thought was, is it a bird? Is it, a butterfly? Is it a moth? Is it a leaf? What
Right.
is it? And that's when he started bringing this in through thermal and through AI and everything, and we started seeing the displacement of heat. And when he zoomed up into it, I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" Because it's not anything that I've ever seen up here. And yeah, I've seen a lot of the stuff that we have up here. Can't say I've seen everything, but
So
yeah.
it kind of falls under Jack and I's kind of thing. My
Active.
thing is that like, oh, people UFOs they just arrived. No, personally, I think that UFOs or unidentified things are uh, another dimensional creature that comes in when nature's pure, when there's no, we don't paint or concrete over everything, and they're organic, and they're not space aliens. They've always been here, and they just kind of in and out when don't know why, but
Later on in
it's
season 2, we actually go back in to kind of explain where this thing was. It was 3 feet off the ground, 4 feet off the ground. We did a size comparison, so you'll see that in season 2 where we touch more base on this location.
yeah, we do go back there, like in the beginning of your show, you had some guests talking about scientific. Can you repeat it again?
Yeah. Scientific
And
process.
well, Jack and I talk about that all the time. It's like, well, if to know that ghosts is real, we gotta do the same thing and get the same result. And we do that all the time because we're investigators, right? We want to kind of beat down all the path to say we don't know what it is. And it's fun going down those paths, right?
Yeah, it is. It is because, like I said, there's so many different things that you can use this to look at and kind of just sit and ponder on for a minute. And the Patterson Gimlin, like I said, tackling that one, that's probably one of the more famous and obvious ones that you might want to try first. But it could break spirits and break break the illusion that some people may have of a particular sighting. Not saying that that one was fake, but obviously, I don't know. It depends on where you fall on that.
Well,
It's
maybe
always going to be speculation, and everybody's going to always have their own opinion, and that's perfectly fine. That's the beauty about this community. is you have believers, you have skeptics, and then you have the believer and the skeptic. And I think that's how you have to be a good investigator.
And also, let's face it, AI is interpreting filling in the spaces on its own. So maybe it thinks that's a tape, but it's not, right? So
Yes.
let's just put a disclaimer on it right from the beginning that there at a certain point it uses magic juju to come up with what it does, but it's probably says, okay, well, if that and that are the same, it would be kind of a good reasoning that this is similar, right? And we're going to fill that in. So maybe that was.
Yeah, well, that is awesome. That is awesome. I do appreciate that, and I know the
I'll get the
audience
people.
appreciates
I'll get the people back. Like yes.
it. So, guys, awesome show that you guys put together. Please keep up the great work. I would love, obviously, to talk to you guys again. I'm watching your trajectory from afar. I'm sitting back watching it happen real time, and it's a beautiful thing. I love the execution. And the mind, and like I've said this on the first interview, when you have a mind like Evans for cinematography, and then you have a mind like Jack's, who's been doing this for over 25 years. Jack, right?
Just over 20. It'll be 23 years coming April.
So with all that there, then it's just the ingredients for something great. So, guys, I must stress, go and subscribe to the channel. Check out the 8 episodes that are there now. Get you ready for season 2. And I want you guys to go ahead and say anything you want to say to the audience.
So, guys, season 2 comes out on April 1st. We'll be doing our podcast every other Wednesday, opposite of the episode being released over on our YouTube page. We have multiple different platforms that we're on. If you guys want to check those out, go to our YouTube page. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go over, hit the link tree in our bio, and go to all the different platforms and follow them. We just released our first book, which is the top 10 things you need on a ghost hunt. Go check that out on our Patreon. You can either become a free member or a paid member. It's up to you. We also have our TikTok where we have short videos. So, guys, there's going to be a lot of content coming out here very, very soon. We're working on everything right now. So we're grateful for everything as well.
The name of the show and where to find it is SVC Explorers of the Unknown. And that's where you'll find our YouTube page. I just want to kind of shout out and kind of talk just a little bit about, like, this is just Jack and us, Jack and me, Jack and I doing all of it. And now we have Caleb, right? But I want to kind of tell everyone that you can do that too. This is not no magic I'm experienced. I know to always look at the thing that says record and to make sure I listen to audio and I know how to put it together. But now more than ever, we shot most of it with our phones and a flip out. And I heard in one of the comments that said, do you have any evidence that isn't AI? Yes, we do. Our biggest evidence, which is the full aberration on the bridge full body, is just my iPhone, but I opened it up and got in the shadows with just regular, in my Premiere.
Taking the contrast and the brightness and stuff like that. We have a lot of stuff that isn't AI. We use AI to help enhance images, but not to change anything or put anything in there.
Yeah. And we're using it for our post-production workflow. And anyone who's an editor who wants to talk about that, we got a show right here talking about how we use AI to leverage just Jack and I, how we get through hours of footage, how we cut it down. There's all these new products out there for content creators. They're made for us. And, me back in the day, if it's a 3-hour interview, it takes 5 days because I got to go through it. Is that better than that? Is that, how am I going to start this? Now we kind of have a really good workflow, and it's making our lives easier so we can get back.
Yeah. Plus telling the story. Like you said, telling the story. Some of the monsters we've been able to bring to life through AI imaging is absolutely insane. My first sighting when I was 8 years old of the Bigfoot, I got to use an AI imager and I described what I saw, and it took a couple times, and then all of a sudden it was there. The image was spot on, and it's It's insane to see,
Right.
you know, a lot of people, like Evan has said, a lot of people are finding this as a threat. They're saying AI is going to take away our jobs. It's just going to make your job easier and better. 'Cause
Quicker.
it really is.
You could do
Quicker,
more.
yeah.
And get make some
Yeah.
more money, right? Because you did it quicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
I
it.
think this is the biggest thing that ever happened to me. As far as I'm a good editor, but I hate editing. It's like, I'd rather do my
It's
taxes.
repetitive. It's repetitive. It is.
It takes hours and hours and days. So anything to help the workflow is great. Loving it.
Well, as
That's
I
why we can
sharpen,
do this show. That's why
as I sharpen my tools, as I consider myself a beginning editor. I mean, really, I really do need to tap in with you on some editing stuff, anyways, because I'm really trying to be a self teacher and work my way through doing this stuff. And I see you
got you
already. You have a
covered.
great jump on it. Okay, great.
I got you covered, dude. It's all about transcribing your stuff and giving it to chat and saying in exact words what you're hearing. Break down what they're talking about in order of what's interesting. Now take the words exactly and write a script. Make it emotional one. Make it more process driven. Another one. Talk about this, and then you start to get all these versions. And then you go, you edit it and bring it back to Premiere called text to edit, and it just snaps it all together. It's like, what? You're just like, what? It's amazing.
Yeah, and let me anything. Okay, no, and that was a question you answered earlier. So yeah, Damien K. Anything with that AI edit we can see, please. You got to go over to the channel and check it out. SVC Explorers of the Unknown. The content is there. This was a fun thing that we did on the side just to kind of see what AI how it can assist. But they have all the evidence already over there on the channel.
on
So
all
make
of
sure
our
you go
pages.
subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys. Well, it's been fun. We got to do this again. It was just so short a time. It ran out. I wanted to bring in our good friend, Brian, but he got stuck in traffic. I thought that would have been awesome. So we'll set that up then for next time. But outside of that, once again, just thanks so much for coming by, giving me your time. And I will be talking to you guys soon. We'll definitely stay in touch.
Play it
Sounds
death
great.
metal.
Thank you for
Come
having
on.
us.
Yeah, I got a little music for the next break. You guys have a great rest of yours. Take care. And for everyone else out there, just pause for the cause. We'll be back for hour number 3 right here on Spaced Out Radio. You guys kick back. I'll be back.
Good job.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio, after hour number 3 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. As we just want to applaud our wonderful guests who came through tonight, Mr. Evan B. Stone and Jack Vaisey of SVC, Explorers of the Unknown YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go and check them out. I'm not playing with you. The quality is top notch. And so the storytelling is also a highlight of what it is that they're doing over there. And I think it's going to go places. I said this the first time we talked based on my observation and from what the content that I've seen since then. These guys are really raising the bar. So we will be having them back, man. And they're just all around cool guys to talk to, as you can see, right? So awesome stuff, y'all. Awesome stuff. So what we're going to do, if you didn't catch earlier, our hour 3 guy, Brian Bowden, is out there stuck in traffic on the Florida Turnpike. That's why I love kind of living where I'm at, because I don't really have to deal with all the riffraff and the traffic. Even though, when I want to deal with it, I'll go ahead and, travel an hour down to LA and get in that mess. Anyone who's familiar with Southern California, LA traffic, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Really doesn't matter at all. You're going to run into traffic probably 99.9% of the time. But with that being said, what we're going to do for now is go ahead and jump into some of our cryptid stories, because we have the pleasure of working with a gentleman by the name of Lon Strickler, and he has some awesome stories that get submitted to him over at phantomandmonsters.com. Another place that, if you haven't already checked out, is a place you definitely should consider going to see. People from all over I believe the world are submitting Lon stories of weird and strange encounters with all sorts of weird stuff, right? And I think we have determined, and we've talked about it before, we know for a fact that there's some weird stuff going on out there, and we don't know what it is, right? And so we can only go off of experiencer encounters and their details of what it is that they've come into contact with. And we're going to jump into one of the latest ones that Lon has. Actually, is dated today's date, so he just put this one out today. And this one is going to be, let me bring it up here on the screen so you can see it as we go over it. This will be the first story here. Let me set this up here. Okay, so just so you can see the title there, right? So it's a winged human-shaped figure seen flying near Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado. And so, and I'll get into what I think about this, and we can kind of talk about it in just a moment. Let me go ahead and read this to you guys as it was presented to Lon. So, winged human-shaped figure seen flying near Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado. A couple were lying in their backyard at night, stargazing. They observed what they believed was a human-shaped figure with wings flying near Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado. And Lon says, I received the following account. Says, I was referred to you by a friend. I've been looking for answers and thought I'd ask you. This was around September or October of 2017. My fiance and I love sitting in our backyard and enjoying the scenery. We live near Cheyenne Mountain in El Paso County, Colorado. We have seen some weird, unexplainable stuff on the top of the mountain. Once we were watching what we thought was a hiker before he ran towards the edge of a cliff and seemingly flew off the edge. This kind of stuff was the other half of why we love sitting in our backyard and just watching the mountain and observing the sky. Back to the story. With all the strangeness, this by far was the most unexpected and unexplainable. One night, around 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., we were up late and felt like lying out back and stargazing. We dragged the dog's bed outside and threw a few blankets on top so we could lay on it. It was always windy. We lived at the base of a mountain, so this was part of life. We also had a flood wash behind our house with a little running trail that made our yard even more windy. As we watched the clouds pass under the stars, something large and humanoid glided over us. It looked like a man with wings. It did not flap, just glided over silently. I would say about 3,000 feet up. I'm estimating this based on the height of the mountain. I'm not sure, but it looked like it was about the height of the mountain peak, below the clouds, gliding above our house, south, parallel to the mountain ridge. It was silhouetted against the clouds, and the city lights barely illuminated it, but I could clearly make out the shape of a man with wings. My original thought was a hang glider, but it was super late at night, and as far as I know, you don't just jump off random mountains to do this. There are designated flying zones, and you have to log quite a bit of flight hours to be able to fly alone. I also thought it was a vampire or gargoyle. But again, I have not heard any legends or stories from this area. I have done a bit of research, and my new thought is that someone may have released a flying fox, ? I looked up videos of them flying, and they seemed smaller than what I saw, but maybe someone had one that got too big and they let it loose. I have had friends that have exotic pet birds, cats, or monkeys, so I could see this happening. They seem like they need to flap a lot, though, and I guess if it were up higher, it would not need to do so much. It has such a smooth, straight flight path, it gave me doubts. This still seems like the most reasonable explanation, but then again, with the sightings in Chicago and other places, I wonder if this winged humanoid phenomenon may be real. It is labeled M and says, note, I responded to the witness. It's difficult to assess what they may have witnessed. If anyone in Colorado Springs area have seen something similar, please contact Lon at over at phantomofmonsters.com. So, yeah, with that being said, a winged human-shaped figure seen flying over the Cheyenne Mountains. So, who's heard of anything like this? I believe I have heard something in the Chicago area that Lon is kind of referring to. Sort of like a winged humanoid person. But, you know, what it makes me think of, and not necessarily the wing part of it, but, and maybe there's no similarity, or maybe there is some, but if parallel, but if you look at the, what they call the jetpack man, right? The one that that they keep running into over LAX, usually down here in the LA area, and they don't still know what it is. They just say it's a guy on a jetpack, potentially up at like 3,000-4,000 feet altitude, and these planes see this guy on a jetpack on their approach. It's been something that I've wondered about because, you know, you've seen some of the film from, I believe it's Mexico, somewhere in Southern America, where they have this video of what it looks like, just a humanoid figure kind of just floating across the sky. Some people, I think, wrote it off as being a balloon, but the jetpack man, it kind of makes me think about that because when I think of Jetpack Man, I think of the Peru situation, right? Where they had these creatures that they said had these shoes on that were gave them the ability to levitate, right? And potentially they considered maybe those were on some sort of jetpack. And I started thinking, and then the other part that has recently happened that kind of made me think about it was the jellyfish UAP, right? So when I look at that, it looks like something anomalous to me. Is that potentially a life form levitating, essentially? So it's like what I'm trying to find out or figure out is, are we talking about some of the same things when we talk about jellyfish UAP, Jetpack Man, whatever that was over in Peru? Some of the things that people are seeing in Mexico and Southern America that just float across the sky. Are these things one and the same? Are they interrelated, interconnected? And I don't know, because if it is something there, obviously, then it would show that whatever these things are able to kind of just mosey around within our atmosphere with, without protection of like a craft or a ship or something, right? Because if that's a thing, then maybe that's one of those things we have to put on our board as something to be on the lookout for, something that's been mentioned more often than other things, but we still don't have the actual answer to, but something to stay on the lookout for. So that's kind of what kind of stood out to me when I read the story initially, when I looked at the winged humanoid. And I just have been thinking about it since the Peru ET, but I don't know. One of those things, I guess time will tell and we'll figure that out. But getting into the next story, we have one that was, looks like this one was posted today as well. And this one is the mysterious creature concerns Greendale, from a Greendale, Wisconsin resident. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one from Lon Strickler's phantomandmonsters.com, and we'll see what you think here. So a Wisconsin woman let her dogs out at night, but is alarmed when the dog refuses to go past the patio. She notices a terrible odor. The next day, she finds 3 dead squirrels lined up in the woods. And so Lon says he received the following account. Hello. I found one of your posts on the Strange Wisconsin Facebook group. This is not a personal experience of mine. However, a close friend's mother who lives near Greendale, Wisconsin, related this story to me. She let her 2 dogs out in the backyard. Those familiar with the area know that Greendale is just a bit outside of Milwaukee. Her backyard is connected to a wooded area, so she's used to random wildfire. Deer come by frequently, and bears have been known to wander around from time to time, not to mention the countless smaller woodland creatures. This being said, she had a fairly disconcerting situation unfold. One night, she let her 2 dogs out before bed, a nightly occurrence, and she stayed with them as she often did. She regularly would sit on her patio until midnight or later, but not so anymore. As I said, she's used to seeing occasional wildlife, as are the dogs. This particular night, she let the dogs out, and they started to make for the yard. However, they stopped just past the patio and stared into the darkness of the trees. Unwilling to move further, she left her back door and to try and coax them to hurry up and do their business. As she approached the edge of her patio, she noticed a particularly rancid odor. She said that it smelled like mothballs, rotting meat, and dead fish. Shortly thereafter, she heard a loud grunt and the rustling of foliage. She was very clear that the odor was no animal that she had smelled before. and the grunt did not sound like that of a bear, even though one had been spotted in the other area not super far from her place. Two, in fact, had been spotted. One had wandered onto the interstate and been struck by a truck. It was enough to shake her, and she didn't spook easily. Now, that would have been weird enough for her. However, the next day, she let her dogs out, and one had traveled a bit further into the foliage before she called her back, heading in the same direction as they had been staring the other night before. She called her back and she came, but it was off for her to have traveled that deep in. The next day, during daylight, she decided to trek in a bit and see if she could find any bear signs or anything like that. She didn't. What she did find was 3 squirrels dead, lined up, not end to end, but one then the next, like lined paper, and spaced out evenly. The squirrels weren't bloody nor mutilated, as one would expect from a predator attacking and snacking, just dead and laid out evenly. I don't know what animal would do this, but it didn't sound like anything I had heard of a normal animal doing. Any insight into this weird happening? And Lon puts here, note, the first thing that comes to mind is either a Bigfoot or a very odorous human. Very weird, Lon. All right, so with that being said, I don't know if there's too much to that. That could be, I mean, the way that they talk about it being laid out, right? Laid out one next to the other. That's how I'm visioning it, as one dead body and then another and then another, and evenly spaced out, no blood. Is it? I don't know. Lon says it could be Bigfoot. Then I'm going with Lon. Lon is definitely the expert on this. I couldn't even begin to guess what that would be. So with that one being said, let's pick one more. Let's get a strange one here. Let me see. Let's see. I want to get a good one. Okay. Let me see if I can get this one here. Is this a story? No. All right, let me try to find one more here. This is out of the archive. Okay, let's do this one here. There's one Lon put out on the 10th of this month. This one is about a 7-foot tall, and this, if this will sound familiar to you from stories that other people have told, so maybe you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where you may have heard this from. But this one is 7-foot tall. 7-foot tall reptilian armed commandos exit landed craft near Naples, Florida. Let me see if I can actually bring that up here too, so you can see that over here. Let's see, where am I at here? Okay, here we go. You can see is all these stories here. If I can get this. Okay, there we go. All right, 7-foot tall reptilian armed commandos exit landed craft near Naples, Florida. Near Naples, Florida, a group of 7-foot tall reptilian humanoids who were very massively built and, quote, evil looking, exited a saucer-shaped craft that had landed near a rural home. Lon says, I received the following account. A few years ago, at a family gathering, my brother casually mentioned to my sister and I that his wife had seen a UFO and that it had scared the crap out of her. When my sis and I approached her, she wouldn't talk about it. So we decided on New Year's Eve to get her nice and buzzed and then try to get the story out of her again. Well, she was more buzzed when we brought it up, and you could see her face change, becoming upset. We kept at it, trying to coax it out of her until she finally told us the following. My brother and she, that's not the correct verbiage, but I guess my brother and I live in a very rural part of Naples, Florida, near where my mother's house is. She woke up one morning from a nightmare, coincidentally, about UFOs, which is why I suspect this whole thing might have been some sort of waking dream. And she went out onto her front porch for a cigarette. Outside, parked on the street, in front of her house, was a glowing saucer-shaped ship. Coming out of it, dressed in what she described as combat armor and holding weapons, all were a group of 7-foot-tall reptilian humanoids. She said they were very massively built and, quote, evil-looking. She started backing away in terror when one of them turned to her. Then in her head, she said it didn't move its mouth. She heard, quote, go back inside. We're not here for you. Then the figures crossed the street to the house across from hers. She turned and scampered back into her place and hid, not daring to look outside for a good while. Apparently, her daughter was also involved in this sighting, but this is as much of the story as my sister and I could get out of her. I know this sounds ridiculous, but if you heard her telling it and saw how she sobered up very quickly while doing so, it might creep you out as much as it did us at the time. At one point, she broke into tears and hysteria, so we asked her to stop and never approach the subject with her again. We've never asked the daughter about it. My brother says he slept through the whole thing. And Lon puts a note that Naples is located within an area of Southwest Florida that is well known for bizarre activity and encounters. Lon. All right, so first thing I want to know, what story does that sound like? Does that sound like a story that we're familiar with here? Let me go to the chat, because I know that sounds like something that we just recently heard of, right? Same area, same description of these 6, 7, 8-foot entities, right? Wearing some sort of armor. This is what, right? So I don't know. It sounds like to me the Miami Mall ET situation, right? A lot of people say that didn't happen. They say it was a mistaken identity. It was kids. They were shooting off fireworks, and that's what they saw. It was no ETs. I wasn't there. I can't say either way. We could all speculate, but the story that we just covered definitely has feelings of what it was that was being described in that whole situation, right? And I'm not here to say that situation happened. Like I said, once again, I wasn't there. But the one thing that I want to point out on those situations, and it kind of goes into what we were talking about before, right? This ties in, for me, this story ties into what they were talking about with the Miami Mall ETs. Also the Las Vegas ET situation. Same sort of description, sort of, and then same thing with Peru. So, the only thing you can do is look at data that you have, and in some cases is just a story from experiences, but in this case, obviously, groups of experiencers that experience the same thing or are telling the same stories. So, I would want to take something like this story and the other things that have been reported like it, and put it in a parking lot space where it's data that can be referenced. Because if you continue to get stories like that sound like the one Lon received here, and then you keep having reports around the world with different, different entities appearing or showing up in places, then it kind of makes you think that maybe it's something that's a thing, that there may be a thing to these sort of descriptions. And I don't know about the reptilians and if it's a particular race or species. I can't speak to that because I haven't personally had an encounter with any species that I can tell you directly. But I can tell you that the stories sound the same, right? And that's kind of why history is important, because, even though a lot of people brushed off those stories in Miami and then Peru and Las Vegas, a lot of people brushed them off, but it's still the data that's there to be compared to someone else's story down the line, right? And I kind of think that's what the parallel is here for this story as well. So just wanted to point that out and how important that is. So what we're going to do now that we have finished our cryptid stories of the night, we have about 25 minutes here. And I say it's about 20 minutes actually, because we'll need to get our commercials going at the end of the show. And so I think 20 minutes is probably going to be enough time to finish the trivia that we started the other day. So let me remove this here. I had put together a long list of questions last week. We didn't get through them all even close. So I think that's what we'll do. So get your fingers ready. And let's get ready to kick up the trivia music. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish off where we left off. And gosh, who was the winner last time? I don't even remember. Let me see before we jump into it. Christine says, Rob G, how was your trip? How were you feeling on it? I was feeling great. The trip itself, I was feeling great. I didn't really start getting sick until I got back home. I went out for, I don't know if anyone has had Korean corn dogs, but once I got back from the cruise, my mother stayed in town for a day. We took her out for her birthday to get some sushi. Then the following day, which was last Sunday, we went out and got some Korean corn dogs because I never had them, and they were actually pretty awesome. So, but from that moment forward, I got sick. So I don't know. I can't say when or where or how it happened, but the cruise was great. But this last 7 days, just recovering from this sickness has been, and I'm still cloudy right now, right? I'm still not 100%, but I definitely am doing well enough to push through. So thanks for asking, though, Christine. Thank you. It was pretty awesome. All right. So with that being said, yeah, I had a cold during that last show last Sunday. I kept having to mute myself. I was coughing. That was the start. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get us into some. I mean, all our normal players aren't here for trivia, but that's okay. That means we're going to have a brand new winner tonight, and we can go with that. So I'm going to start. I had a long list of questions, so I'm going to start at the bottom of that list and then work my way up, because I know these ones we didn't cover last week. So here we go. We're going to do a little bit of trivia for the last 15 minutes here. Let's see who can take home the crown tonight. All right, we're going to start off with the paranormal question. To make sure. Oh, wait, I can't. Wait. Paramarv will kill me if I didn't have my my game tight up here, so hold on 1 second here. All right. Before we start, I gotta make sure I'm on YouTube chat. Give me 1 second here. But I'll put the first question out there, and then we'll see what happens. So, paranormal question. What is the term for a location where paranormal activity is reported to be consistently high, often associated with tragedy or historical events? What is the term for a location where paranormal activity is reported to be consistently high, often associated with tragedy or historical events? Yeah, I see somebody got it there. So give me just a second here. It is a hot spot, so I know somebody got it. I see it in the chat. Right, let's turn this down here. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, hot spot. So that's looks like, let me see, let me go up. Dead fish cheese spread. And look, all my notifications come through on stream. Nice. All right, dead fish cheese spread, hot spot. Got it. All right, next question is a space question. What term is used to describe the theoretical concept of a region in space where gravity is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape? What is the term used? What term is used to describe the theoretical concept of a region in space where gravity is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape? Okay, looks like we got dead fish cheese spread. Again, it's going to be a black hole. All right, black hole for dead fish cheese spread. Awesome stuff. All right. Next one here. Ooh, okay, this is a cryptid question. I don't think there's going to be anyone that gets this one. We'll see. I think you guys are smart, so you're probably going to get this one. In Native American folklore, what creature is a powerful horned serpent associated with water and rain? In Native American folklore, what creature is a powerful horned serpent associated with water and rain? I would really be shocked if someone just got this one here. You probably don't know how close you are, Christine. I don't see a good answer yet. I see a close one. I'll just give you the answer. Okay, so the answer was horned water serpent. A horned water serpent. So you're pretty close, Christine. Next question This is a UFO question. What famous UFO incident in 1966 involved multiple witnesses reporting sightings of a large, low-flying object in the Australian state of Victoria? What famous UFO incident in 1966 involved multiple witnesses reporting sightings of a large, low-flying object in the Australian state of Victoria? Okay, I think I see it here. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Stargazer because it is the Westall School. One of the most famous, right there with Ariel School. Almost the same thing happened. The Westall 66, where all those kids saw the UFO in the sky. One of those White House on the lawn moments that skeptics ask for. Westall School is one of those moments, for sure. So great job, Stargazer. And let's see. Okay, easy one. This is a space question. Space question. What type of celestial event occurs when the moon passes directly between the sun and the earth, casting a shadow on the earth's surface? What type of celestial event occurs when the moon passes directly between the sun and the earth, causing a shadow on the earth's surface? If the moon is passing between the sun and the earth, so not the earth passing between the moon and the sun, it's the moon passing between, see, we just get into the wording. So it is definitely going to be, I couldn't just take eclipse because there's solar or lunar. And this would be a solar eclipse because the moon is passing between the earth and the sun. So that goes to Brandon Coast. Brandon Coast gets it with solar eclipse because that's the correct answer. Congratulations, Brandon Coast, for getting the correct answer. Once again, if you don't get the win, you win with knowledge. Always remember that. Let's see. Next question is UFO question. What term is used to describe the alleged removal of people from the Earth to another location by extraterrestrial beings? What term is used to describe the alleged removal of people from the Earth to another location by extraterrestrial beings? Okay. Yeah, we could be a little more specific, right? Because if no one goes deeper, let's be a little. Facebook user, pretty close. Gosh, okay. I mean, there's all these abductions out here, man. So I'm gonna give abduction, even though, come on, we have to be a little more specific because it's an alien abduction. If aliens are taking you, it's an alien abduction. But I'll give the first person who said abduction. We'll go ahead and award you for that. Let me see. Who was it? Let's see. It was Christine. Christine said abduction. So I'll go ahead and get that to you, Christine. Congrats on that. Abduction. Alien abduction. All right. We had Okay, let's do this. Paranormal. Talked about this recently in the last few weeks, couple weeks, so this should be pretty fresh. In paranormal investigations, what method involves attempting to communicate with spirits through recorded audio, later analyzed for potential messages? In paranormal investigations, what method involves attempting to communicate with spirits through recorded audio, later analyzed for potential messages? Okay, I see it. I see the right answer. That's going to be Deb from Sacramento. Deb from Sacramento. It is EVP, or electronic voice phenomena. So EVP would be correct. Deb from Sac. Well, I want to let me star you. Okay, there we go. Good job on that, Deb from Sac. Christine said, Spirit Box radio thing. Yeah, essentially. Well, from what I'm learning, we talked about the Ghost Box, which is, I guess, different from the EVP. I'm sure an expert can tell you about that, but let me see. All right. Okay, yeah, so we're good there. Next question is a space question. What is the name of the massive cloud of icy bodies located on the outskirts of our solar system beyond the orbit of Pluto? What is the name of the massive cloud of icy bodies located on the outskirts of our solar system beyond the orbit of Pluto? Okay, sounds like Dead Fish Cheese Spread is the Oort cloud. Appreciate you. Oh, okay. Is that true? Is that true? Welcome to the show. Let me see. Dead Fish Cheese Spread gets it. All right. So in the UK, you guys are several seconds behind. Huh. That'd be strange, right? Maybe it's true. I don't know. All right, great job, Dead Fish Cheese Spread. Okay, so next one is gonna be okay. Here's one. UFO question: which Scandinavian country has a long history of UFO sightings, and is home to the Hesdalen Lights, a mysterious phenomenon? Which Scandinavian country has a long history of UFO sightings and is home to the Hesdalen Lights, a mysterious phenomenon? All right, Christine, it is Norway. Christine answered correctly. It is Norway. It is Norway. Dang, really? Welcome to the show. Let's see. I hate that would be the case. You guys are answering before we even get the question. I don't know, that's weird. I didn't know the internet would have I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Try a different browser or use the YouTube app, or I don't know. Don't know how to resolve that one for you. Welcome to the show. Yeah, Christine is just doing damage tonight, man. Mothman would be proud. Mothman would be proud. Next question. Okay, space question. What term describes the hypothetical concept of a spacecraft traveling faster than the speed of light, allowing it to surpass the limitations of normal space travel? What term describes the hypothetical concept of a spacecraft traveling faster than the speed of light, allowing it to surpass the limitations of normal space travel? Looking good. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, looks like Deb from Sacramento gets warp speed. All right, warp speed is the correct answer. And I'll have to look into that. Welcome to the show. I have to look back at the past winners and see where all the winners have been located to see. That might be a thing. Let's see. Next question is UFO question. What government-led program was revealed in 2017 acknowledging the existence of unidentified aerial phenomenon and investigating their nature? What government-led program was revealed in 2017 acknowledging the existence of an unidentified aerial phenomenon and investigating their nature? Who gets it? Who got it? Who gets it? I'm going to have to go with Deb from Sacramento. Is going to be AATIP or ATIP. And ATIP stands for Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. If you recall, Lou Elizondo came out. All right, so we'll do this as the final one here, right? Let's go. Okay, let's pick a good one, right? Let me see. I want to pick a good one, right? Okay. UFO question, final question. Which U.S. state is frequently associated with UFO sightings, especially in the region known as the San Luis Valley? Which U.S. state is frequently associated with UFO sightings, especially in the region known as the San Luis Valley? Okay, let me see. I do see the correct answer, and that's going to be dead fish cheese spread coming through with Colorado. It's the state of Colorado. You know, our guy Drew Banky is out there on that homestead living the good life. Out there on that homestead doing good work. Manifesting great energies out there in the state of Colorado. That is the correct answer. So let me go ahead and close out the trivia. So I don't need this anymore. Let me close this out. We're going to try to figure out a way to fix that. Welcome to the show. I'm going to look that over and see if that's a real issue or not. And then we'll kind of go from there. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and check out the correct answers. I thought dead fish cheese spread was, I don't know. It's anybody's game right now. So let me make sure. There's 1, 2, 3 clips, production, P, Norway, Sac. Okay, yeah, this appears to be it. So looks like we have Deb from Sac had 1, 2, 3. We had dead fish cheese spread. Actually, I think, yeah, dead fish cheese spread had 1, 2, 3, 4. Christine had 1, 2. Brandon Coast had 1. Stargazer had 1. So it looks like our winner this evening is dead fish cheese spread. hot spot. You tore it up. Great job on the trivia tonight. Yeah. That was a little more work than normal, right? Great answers. Do want to appreciate you for participating tonight. And anyone can win. You all win. Matter of fact, you all win. You have knowledge that you didn't have before. Next time we have a trivia, if the question happens to come up, then you already know what the answer is because you retain the data and the information, which allows you to persevere in that next round of trivia. So, great job, everyone. Let me go ahead and get our promotional stuff out here. Our Reno trip is coming up. It's even closer than ever. Less than 2 months, right? We're about a month and a half out. About a month and a couple weeks. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our commercials like we usually do. We don't have ugly swag. Go get your Rob G t-shirts. Check it out right here.
Guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com. Shop there today and make yourself look good.
All right. And the Reno trip.
You love your woo. It's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual SOR Fan Party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldina Roscoe, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the SOR Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
All right. Make sure you're there. If you can be there, make sure you're there. It's going to be an awesome time. It seemed like it was forever ago when this was first announced. We've talked about it. We've built it up. We are only weeks out now, about 6 weeks out, before we all get together and get to meet each other, get to sit down, have breakfast for dinner, and piss Dave Scott off like we want to do. We want to do that. Okay, breakfast for dinner. Let's piss off Dave Scott one good time. Let's take a picture to commemorate our meeting or the time that we spend together. And then we'll set it up and do it all again the following year. So with that being said, let me go ahead and thank the super chatters who have stepped in, supported us tonight. That would be Aloha Dave, who stepped in. Appreciate you. Kudos to Rob for his perfect Spanish pronunciation. Do appreciate you, Aloha Dave. And, of course, Sir Brian Bowden, who's stuck in traffic on the Florida Turnpike. We should be getting some good stuff from him. I know he's going on his Bigfoot exhibition here over the next few weeks, and he potentially said he might give us some gems on that. So we'll wait and see, right? And then we'll go ahead and get this thing going. So outside of that, I just want to thank you all. You guys are all space travelers. Consider taking that next step and join the club. That's right. You can join the Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 per month by joining our Patreon. And with that being said, we want to talk to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thanks for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best, and like we're going to do tomorrow as well. And what is that, you ask, guys? We own the night. Thanks for coming on in. You have a great rest of your night. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Let me know in the comments. Other than that, see you tomorrow. You guys all take care.